Hello.
Surprise!
Hello,
You might be
everybody.
wondering why we've gathered you all here.
You may be wondering who speaks to you now.
Who speaks to you now?
You may be wondering
You might be wondering why we're all here.
why we're here. Because the Crooked Moon
The Crooked Moon.
is coming to D&D Beyond.
The D&D Beyond.
D&D Beyond, folks! Gotta
D&D
give it up!
Beyond.
Gotta give it up!
D&D Beyond. I can't clap right now,
Unbelievable.
but I'm clapping in my heart.
Can you believe it? I certainly can't.
I can't. This is a
Momentous occasion.
momentous day.
It's very surreal.
It is very surreal.
It's very surreal to finally have the cat be out of the bag. I feel in my life is there's so many cats in this giant
That's
sack.
right. It's just a bag of cats.
And every cat that I let out of the bag, I just feel so relieved.
It's just a bag of
It
cats.
is a cat. It's a bag of cats. Life is life is a bag of cats sometimes.
Sometimes it is.
And oh, nice.
Oh, this is a good jam.
I switched the playlist story. Oh, shit.
I think that's fine.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Can you believe it?
I can't.
D&D Beyond.
Oh, nice Creek Moon.
Yeah,
shirt.
I figured I
believe
would
it.
I couldn't
dress
find this.
appropriately.
Mine,
so.
I think, was dirty.
Yeah.
And then we would have matched, and that would have been awkward.
I think that would have been fine, given what today is.
Today, the Crooked Moon, we are having a celebration party stream where we mentioned previewing a video. I did mention that. That video is still coming, just not today.
Yeah.
Just not today.
Yeah.
We are still streaming though, but the video that I alluded to is coming in a
not
couple
today.
weeks.
Originally,
Couple
the
weeks.
video was gonna air, and then you guys were gonna maybe go live afterwards. and,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
now we're just live.
Now we're just live.
So it works out.
So that is still coming. That is not canceled.
That's right.
It is coming. Just the
Real
mystery
quick,
video.
I want to snipe Raw Insanity. Thank you, Nikki, and Dispel Dice for the discount code.
Oh.
Pick up the gorgeous Eventide dice set.
Yay!
So
I'm glad that you got it.
that's a code that Nikki's been
A code.
sending out.
A code, yeah.
A code. We like
Code.
codes here.
Super secret codes.
Super secret.
Super secret.
So anyway, check it out. Go to the link it's pinned right now, and it should be in chat occasionally. But D&D Beyond,
You have how long to pre-order?
June.
I believe it's 17.
Yes.
It
you
was
have
16.
over a month.
Now it's 17.
You have over a month to pre-order.
That's right.
And these pre-order bonuses are not going away. I mean, they are going away. That's the opposite of what I said.
Yes, they're going
They
away.
will be going away. If you miss out on these pre-order bonuses, you are going to regret it. What are the pre-order bonuses, Rich?
The pre-order bonuses,
4 frames.
you get 4 frames. 2 are static.
What's a frame?
2 are animated. For those that don't know, D&D Beyond, it's sort of like an online character sheet content management platform.
Yeah.
Not quite a VTT.
Nope.
Not quite, a PDF.
Nope.
Right? It is sort of.
It's like a happy
own
medium
thing.
between
It's
the
a
two.
bespoke Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition app.
And
Yes.
it makes
Web
character
app.
creation as easy as pie.
A
It does.
breeze.
And so the frame is basically a little frame around your character portrait. And so we have basically 2 different flavors, various versions of kind of crooked branches and wicker.
Yeah.
And basically 2 of the static versions, then each one is animated. So you'll have 4 options there. And then I think the coolest part is you get 10 backdrops.
The best part.
Which I think is the best part.
I love the backdrops.
Think of a backdrop like a wallpaper for your character sheet.
Yep.
It is the big splash art that goes behind everything, and we have some beautiful art from the Crooked Moon by the amazing Titus Lettner, and they look beautiful behind.
Are all
the
of Titus's pieces, or most of them?
character.
Most of Titus's pieces
I
are
think
backdrops.
most of them. are
Titus did an
backdrops.
amazing job on the Crooked Moon. He really brought the remote landscape and rural location part of the folklore chain to
That's
our
right.
book.
That's right.
And there was no one better. There was no one better besides Titus to capture the strange, eerie, and remote locations of the Crooked Moon. And I believe most of those are available as backdrops only if you pre-order before it launches in
That's
June.
correct.
June 17th.
That's correct. One thing I want to say is that if you're watching live and you're on Twitch, you can redeem channel points
Yes.
to ask us questions. And we're going to be focused on D&D Beyond questions.
D&D Beyond, Crooked Moon
questions, just general on topic
general
stuff.
publishing.
We're probably not going to be knocking out like any D&D tips or what would X character do or Y character, what's your favorite ice cream.
Yeah.
Save your channel points on those sorts of things.
Or don't. Your points. We just won't be answering.
Yes.
And what I will say off the bat, if you were just tuning in and joining us, the D&D pre-order and the offering is a completely separate offering from the backer kit. It is not part of the Kickstarter campaign.
Yes.
We had no idea that it was going to happen when we launched our Kickstarter.
That's right.
It is not at all connected. It is a fully separate new product.
Yes.
It is
launching after the whole Kickstarter pre-order backer kit thing shuts down. It was a more later edition that we were going to do a pre-order phase. And so here we are. So there's a bit of an overlap with the backer kit store being open during this time. But yes, they're totally different products.
This is a new offering.
Yes,
this is a new
offering. It is our first new offering post-launch.
Yeah.
When will it end? The pre-order will end on June
17th.
You have until the end of June 16th, presumably.
Yes.
Because it launches at 9 a.m. on June 17th, Pacific. So that's noon Eastern. Anyway, you have over a month to lock in your pre-order bonuses. It's not like you have to get it right now, but obviously you want to drum up the word and make day one a big day.
Yeah, day one a big day. It helps show our partners at WotC that the Adventures fam doesn't fuck around, and that the Crooked Moon gang don't fuck around, and that we love this, and we're very glad to be. We wanted to make sure that the Crooked Moon was as accessible as possible to as many different audiences as possible, and so it was a no-brainer. And WotC's been an incredible partner with us the entire time. The D&D Beyond team is unbelievable. They've just been amazing partners across the board throughout the whole process.
They're gunslingers.
Let me tell you. And the amount of hard work, like what a hard-working team. It's really amazing to work with them. So,
do you have any folks to thank before we dive into questions here?
Yeah.
Just a few.
Gifted sub from Rar Sanity. 10 gifted from Traven
Guard. Thank you.
$5 super chat from Locked Up Gaming. Pre-order spent, and out of everything I've read, it's amazing. My whole group is looking forward to it. Thank you for being you. Thank you so much. 5 gifted from Tykel Murner. His name is probably Michael Turner. That's very funny.
It's very funny.
500 bits from I used to know this.
Regina Lacrimosa.
300 bits from Hyperbolic Axolotl. Oh, wow.
Should we get into some questions here?
Let's get into some questions. We already answered, basically, has the D&D pre-order in any way connected to backer kit or Kickstarter? No, it is not at all connected to original campaign. It is a brand new offering that is not related to the Kickstarter campaign, to the backer kit pre-order, or to the or to any of our VTT offerings. Favorite Crooked Moon subclass?
Oh. I mean, I'm really partial to the fucking Experiment Barbarian.
I'm going to say the Sinner Rogue.
That's all I'm going to say.
I love the Sinner Rogue. It was a guilty pleasure. And when Mike and I were formulating what the book was going to be, the Sinner Rogue was my immediate, and I'm putting my foot down subclass. Many of the classes, we went back and forth on what the subclass should be, and most classes probably had 2 or 3 options. And I think Rogue solidified almost immediately to the Sinner.
The design vision on that, as far as lead design, was really from Rich.
Yeah.
For that subclass. I mean, I'm very partial to the subclasses that I kind of lead designed and set the vision for. Which are the
Harvest Cleric,
Old Ways Druid, Oath of Castigation Paladin. Those are probably the big 3.
Yeah.
Those are probably the big 3 as far as. Granted, obviously it was a collaborative process with the team, but as far as like the baseline kernel, I mean, you know, gotta go with, I love Cleric and I love Druid, and so Harvest Cleric and Old Ways Druid.
Nikki, favorite subclass?
It's got to be Horn King Warlock.
Yeah, Horn King Warlock.
Easy.
Dan did an amazing job.
Yeah, that one took a while to dial in.
That went through a lot of iteration.
And that was another, like, pet project of mine to make sure that we really got it correct. And there's a lot of different themes and tropes related to witch folklore. And I think Dan did an excellent job striking the balance without making it too specific,
Yeah.
which is hard to do.
Yep.
So got to give it up to Dan Dillon, our lead designer.
I'm
Gotta give it
clapping with my heart.
Gotta give it.
Dan Dillon
it's
is. I mean, the whole team is the man and the woman and the person and the wonderful peoples. I mean, the whole team. The folks. The entire team. It's not just the people in this room. It's not even just the cast. It is our great large team that's been pulling a Herculean effort the past year, especially the last 8 months, to make the Crooked Moon as good as we could possibly make it. Get it in your hands. Get it produced, manufactured in China, where it's being manufactured. I think Richie posted a fun little photo
I did.
of a giant vat of fresh out of the resin molds Ghost Train dice. So no inking, right? It didn't have any inking yet.
Correct. It wasn't even polished.
Wasn't even polished yet.
Straight out of the mold.
Pre-polished, straight out of the mold. In a big old vat. It looked like fucking Breaking Bad.
That's right.
And the blue cocaine, or not cocaine, the blue meth.
We've answered it before, but it's worth mentioning again and again and again. Nameless asks, when will the pre-orders end? They will end on June 17th at noon Eastern. So you want to make sure that you pre-order if you want those pre-order bonuses, because I believe they're going away. And if we ever offer any more Crooked Moon themed bonuses like that, it'll be new. It'll be new. It'll be different.
And you don't want to miss out on Titus's backdrops. It's just
That's right.
amazing.
Astro has a wonderful question. Now that D&D Beyond will have Crooked Moon subclasses, will the Edge of Midnight party be switching to some of the subclasses in there? You know, it's really funny that when we first started talking about this book, I was thinking that we might do like, oh, let's have subclasses for all the PCs.
Yeah.
And
That was very early.
very early.
Very early.
And like none of it fit.
That was like 2022.
None of it fucking fit.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that any of our subclasses fit any of the Edge of Midnight party.
Nope. Because we wanted to make it very bespoke.
Yeah.
We thought about doing a blood vampire paladin, and we thought about doing, a shadow
Cleric.
cleric.
Yeah, shadow priest.
Yeah, it just didn't
Didn't work out.
wasn't the direction we wanted to go.
No. Let's see here.
Thank you, Astrolotl, for your question.
Why don't you answer this one? Star asks, how long did you guys take on making the Crooked Moon?
From first ideation
Yeah.
until like final files to Panda, what do you think? Like what?
It was, I would say we started the entire process November of 2022.
November 2022. That's when we started.
And we delivered the final files to the manufacturer mid-March, somewhere in March.
Yeah.
So November to November to November. So 23, 24. Basically 2 years and 3 months.
2 years and 3 months.
I'm getting pretty good at this.
2 years and 4 months.
What are you working? What
5
are you
months.
doing?
Oh,
I'm getting pretty good at this.
that was great.
Just working.
Wow.
Work in progress. That's all I'm gonna say.
Tune in on Thursday.
Work in progress.
Tune in on Thursday.
We're doing a fun stream on Thursday. We're streaming 3 days in a row for you guys.
And Andy's streaming
Some of us 4,
4 days in a row.
and then it's gonna be 5 out of 6.
He gets 1 day off, and then he's back here on Saturday.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Sucks to be you guys.
It's all good.
So yeah, it's been a very, very, very long time coming, and it's almost surreal.
It's very surreal to have it coming to
yeah.
D&D Beyond. That it's going to be on ships in July.
Yeah, it's
End of
on ships
June,
in
early July, like
in
it's-
August we'll be sending out packages.
Yeah, August. It's going to be. Yeah, it's going to be. Obviously, knock on wood, depending on
Yeah.
the.
Oh, I just want to say, apparently Andy's Hades stream went very well.
Oh,
That's
it
what
was
I heard.
Fucking awesome.
I saw
what I
pieces
heard.
of fan art that
Look,
were very fun.
oh, did you? I haven't seen any fan art.
It's
Bro.
you as Hades. Or
Oh,
as
it's
character.
Zagreus.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to be Zagreus so bad.
Zagreus,
Real
it's
quick,
very
before I don't get on a rabbit hole. We can talk about it later. But all I want to say is my favorite part of those streams is that our patrons show up to the streams and they're like, "Oh, like Andy's playing video games. Like it'll be a good time or whatever." And without fail, there's something happens in the course of the stream where they're like, holy fuck, this guy can game. And I'm like, fuck yeah, I can game.
Nobody said that
Just
about
because
you.
they said I was cracked.
Nobody said
In
that
fact,
about
if you're not a patron and you want to watch me play Hades for the first time, it only took me 3 or 4 attempts to clear Meg. And then the first time I went up against the Bone Hydra, killed him in 1 shot.
Is that a big deal?
It was pretty good. It's a challenging game, right? Like it's not as difficult as Cuphead.
It's no Cuphead, but it's still
It's
like
still challenging.
it's a hard game. It's like Bug Guy.
Hollow Knight.
Hollow Knight.
It's got Hollow Knight elements.
Oh.
It's got Cuphead elements. It's
Yeah.
got Bullet Hell elements. And the first time I went up against the Bone Hydra, I put that motherfucker in the dirt. And I was like, they break the mold when they made me, baby.
I know a Bone Hydra from the Games Workshop game Dreadfleet.
That's right.
I don't know why, but I thought you were gonna make some kind of perverted joke.
No.
So if you haven't played Hades, go play it. My goal was to play as much Hades as I possibly can on stream so I can play Hades 2. Because apparently the second one's even better.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it just came out
shit.
like a year ago. It's technically still in beta, but it's been in beta for a long time. But apparently the game's fucking amazing.
Early access is,
And I only wanted to play because of the music. I told everybody about how we were Magfest. We saw that rock band that played the whole
that's my
fucking
only
OST.
experience, yeah.
And my soul left my body. Because
It was a
we were
great
watching
fucking
them
show.
play the OST while the game was playing behind them. And I was like, I literally went home, bought Hades that weekend, played for 10 minutes, and was like, oh, this is going to be great. Never touched it again. So that's why I was so glad.
With what time?
It crushed with almost 60% of the poll. And I had,
Wow.
oh my God, I had like 5 options up there.
Yeah.
So it was
It
it was
annihilated.
Wow.
It was fun.
But Andy, you didn't have solo Phasmo up there.
No, I saw your comment. I meant to tell you I'm literally just too scared to play solo Phasmo. I can't do it. I don't want to play
could
Phasmo
do
without you.
it.
I don't want to play Phasmo without you.
I believe in
Luna
you.
asks, what's your favorite aspect of the Crooked Moon? Favorite song, class, area, etc.
My favorite part of the Crooked Moon is very selfish. But it's also the thing that will get the least appreciation and play. And that's the adventure. A 350-page adventure campaign from levels 1 to 20. And
It's excellent. That's a bit of a cop-out.
I feel like
Give
that's
me
fair.
one chapter. I'm going to say the Drowned Crossroads chapter of the Crooked Moon Adventure. Or the piece that Xavier Collette did of The Fallen.
That is...
Holy cow.
A
which
lot
if
of
you-
people were seeing it for the first time on D&D Beyond.
Yes, if you go to D&D Beyond and you go to book 2 or part 2
Part 2.
of the Crooked Moon, that's our
2.
cover for part 2. Holy cow, it is one of the best pieces in the book.
We need to have a print of that.
We do. We need to find some way.
We need to find some way.
Some way.
What's
Anyone
everyone
else?
else's favorite part of the Crooked Moon?
Oh, the favorite part of the book itself?
Just anything.
Yeah, or the song. Basically, pick one thing. That's,
I have it. I've said it before. I'll say it again. It is the. I'll never forget one of the times that I opened up the book when it was almost finished. It wasn't quite finished yet. It was almost finished. And I literally opened up to the page of Veraxis,
Oh, yeah.
and I was like,
yeah.
okay.
yeah.
I was like, this shit fucking slaps.
Yeah.
So that's actually my favorite
That's
part.
amazing.
Is that image
Yeah.
in the book? That's one of my favorite images.
That chapter is very fun.
I'm obviously partial.
I'm gonna pick. I really think the Ghostlight Express
I agree.
is exactly what I wanted it to be. I think it's an amazing, and not to suck our own dicks, but hey, here we
That's
are.
the point of this.
That's the point of this. We're congratulating
Pre-order on
ourselves and the
D&D
team.
Beyond.
I think it's the perfect intro adventure. I think if you're not hooked on the Crooked Moon after that, I don't know what to tell
We're
you.
not playing the same campaign.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I feel like it's just a great fucking chapter.
Great question. What's everyone's favorite thing that they personally contributed to the Crooked Moon?
I've said this before, but I think that there was a lot of stuff that we did in the initial stuff that I was surprised survived for as long as it did and
Yeah.
made it as far as it did. I know that when we first set out to do this, we had some moments where we were like, oh, we suck, and the reality of the situation is we don't suck, and we kind of proved that. You know what I mean? With a lot of the work that we did initially. Just a lot of the ideas and the stuff that survived and made it all the way through all the trials and tribulations.
Yeah, I'll take one for both me and Andy. Andy and I kind of spearheaded the design of the Way of the Pestilent Haze.
Yeah.
Or Warrior of the Pestilent Haze.
Yeah.
Sorry. Monk. And most of that survived.
Yeah.
And even stuff that had gotten cut, we found a way to add back in. some of the flavor
Yeah,
vermin
yeah,
stuff that
yeah.
kind of was cut originally. The Vermintide feature, I'm very, very jazzed about.
I mean, it's kind of hard, like, as the, you know, the lead writer and the overall,
The
like,
creative director.
and the creative director, it all came, much of the original, like, origination, like, so I don't want to cop out. As far as direct contribute, I think I'm going to call out my work on Maiden Miss Cemetery. I think that probably has the most of my direct writing, probably of all the chapters.
It was a full ground up. Yes, every single word. Yep.
I think nearly every single word
And it's
in
a
there is
juicy
mine.
one.
And I'm a huge fan of it. I think no one's gotten there. I think the furthest I've seen any campaign reports is to Foxwillow, which is Fields of the Crow. I think maybe there's some folks that have made it all the way to like the Drowned Crossroads.
Right.
I'm extremely proud of what you, Derek, and I did in Heartsblight Forest.
I was just gonna say,
I-
for Heartsblight and Memories Rest, even though I didn't write them, I was the one.
I
that
had
came
less
up-
of a hand in Memories Rest.
Yeah, but like the
You and Derek did more there.
anyway, continue.
Oh, I would love to see some campaign reports. What are they called? Campaign summaries?
Battle report.
Heartlight Forest, because I am worried that we created an absolute death trap. I am worried that if you run it as written, you're fucked. And so I'm interested. I'm curious. If you have read Heartlight Forest,
Shit.
That's all I
and you've
want.
done any playtesting, let me know.
Thank you.
But I'm going to call out, I think one of the things I'm most proud of is Maiden Miss Cemetery.
Yeah.
I think fans of Edge of Midnight will find a lot of appreciation. Hopefully.
Yeah. One thing that I'll add and to sort of layer onto that is that for me, I'm not a writer. I was the lead editor, and so my job was to
Editor-in-Chief.
editor-in-chief, whatever you want to call it. My job was to kind of read the book and give feedback if things weren't hitting right. Basically saying, hey, this needs a rewrite, this needs a polish. And sort of playing that kind of newspaper editor, role. And I think for me, I didn't get a lot of creative input outside of like the subclass ideas and some of the feature, some of the very early feature design for a handful of subclasses. But when I was rereading Memories Rest and Heartsblight Forest, those were two chapters where very late in the game, we were thinking of like, hey, let's just publish what we have. And it got to the point where I'm like, this is gonna suck for everyone. For me, for Derek, and for Mike. And for Dan, who has to dev it, and for Yelka, who has to lay it out, and for Suzanne and Ona, who have to get art done.
Get art done late.
It's gonna suck for everybody. But those are two chapters where they're perfectly fucking great chapters. D&D chapters. But they weren't hitting at the various themes that we had set out to hit when we first wrote the book. So we basically hit Control-A, delete, for the most part, and started from the ground up. And kind of my creative contribution to the adventure was kind of the re-theming and the plot, the overall general plot and structure of those two chapters. And I had a really shitty, mock-ups of the map of Memories Rest and the map of Heartsblight Forest in Photoshop, and I'm just shitting stuff together and thinking through how do we rethink Farron and how do we make her more
and I think
villainous.
I think Heartsblight is one of the best chapters in the book.
It was such a team effort. It was such a team effort.
And this whole book was a team effort around a ton of writers, a ton of artists. I mean, I think we're approaching 100 artists. Almost 24 writers and designers and contributors. And just it was such a collaborative group effort that although we talk about kind of like our direct contributions here, that was still so many voices, so many contributions, and it was great to kind of have that delightful
That's
emotion.
worth saying. Because the question is targeted to us and our personal
exactly, right,
favorites. but
exactly.
Not everyone's here, right? For sure.
My favorite contribution was being the person that would read a chapter and say, "We got to do this differently."
Yep.
That was my favorite.
I want
contribution.
to. No, we should give credit where credit's due to Nikki.
Nikki's the only reason why this book is very, very good.
Who's single-handedly basically saved the project. Not single-handedly.
Not single-handedly.
But she was the catalyst and the spark that basically led to...
She raised the alarm.
Yes,
She raised the alarm.
And for those of you that have been fans for a while and you remember in September, October, November, December, January, we basically didn't play D&D.
Yep.
We streamed video games.
I gained 75 pounds.
Mike gained 75 pounds.
Not you, Mike.
That basically started because Nikki shook us and slapped us in the face and like, hey.
In a good way. And we liked it.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
We liked it.
Consensual.
We established
100%.
safety tools
Yes,
first
we did.
as well. Don't worry.
And without that, I think that we would not have a product today that we'd be proud of.
I agree.
And I could not be more proud of the product that we've
I agree.
I agree with
and
that.
completed.
I feel extremely proud of the team. I feel extremely proud of all of us. I'm not proud of the 75 pounds that I gained.
I want to call out a couple other folks.
Or the Adderall that I took.
Dan Dillon, our lead game designer, amazing God tier designer, threw out in Twitch chat the occultist wizard, and I want to echo how fucking excellent both was. I like
you
wizards,
are a wizard stan.
and I love occultist vibes and I love philosopher vibes, and I think both are so fucking excellent.
So Dan, he's like, I haven't seen Full Metal Alchemist, and I'm like, here's a primer, and he's like, I'll just do a little bit of research. Hold my beer. And it's like,
And just dumpstered
here you go. This is exactly what you ordered.
Just dumpstered it.
Here's exactly what you ordered. So I am a big fan of the philosopher. I love the occultist. And one other thing that Dan's like, hold my beer.
Yeah.
But I think, I mean, I want to play both, but I think if I had to choose one to play first, philosopher is on my list. I got to play with a ranged dissolution.
That's right.
With Glup Bondo as the Esper.
That was
sorcerer.
so good.
That was really good.
I want to shout out some other folks on the team and just about like, and again, I'm not to pick favorites, but just to highlight certain things. I think Derek.
Oh, backdrops on the overlay.
Oh, there they are.
Look,
There's some of
there's
those.
some of the backdrops. Well, the corner of some. There's some subclasses.
Derek did such a good job coming up with encounters for a hospital horror adventure for Memories Rest.
Bro.
It was just, some of the stuff in there was just creepy and excellent, and it just perfectly hits the vibe. For Suzanne, our wonderful lead art director on the book, her Fox Willow NPCs portraits and Ona's NPC relationship chart combined are so fucking good.
The folk horror aesthetic, the whole art team just like came
Just fucking
together
killed
and
it.
crushed it. Absolutely crushed it. And I think like, you know, it's hard to articulate like just how many sleepless nights the team put in to the point of breaking in order to get it. And so I'm very proud. Anyway.
And
So all of that has been translated, speaking of sleepless nights, by the D&D Beyond team. They took what we wrote and the team has been working tirelessly to program it, to code it, to put it into their system, to arrange it. It is a tremendous amount of work. I think a lot of people don't realize how much work it is to translate a book and put it into D&D Beyond, especially a 632-page behemoth, to then split into 3 different packages. And so you can pre-order D&D on D&D Beyond the Crooked Moon.
D&D Beyond.
I'm trying to think of other. For Yelka, I want to shout out. I mean, the book. He's our wonderful graphic designer. He laid out the book, and the whole book is beautiful. But to highlight the subclass spreads are just. He sort of fought to kind of make them spreads, and I was like, "We gotta save page space."
Yep.
And he's like, "Can we make them spreads?" And we did, and they're beautiful.
Well, and then he's like, well, we need content to add. This is a little bit of inside
oh,
baseball.
this is great. Oh,
This
this is some of my favorite stuff in
And
the book.
so he's like, we need more content. So Dan and I put our heads together. and we're like, what the fuck do we fill here? And then because I'm new to game design, and so Dan had the idea of basically these flavorful tables.
Oh yeah.
In order to just have something that reflects thematically to give additional ammunition. And I think not every single subclass got it because some of these subclasses are beefy. But the ones that did, I'm so proud of everything that's in there.
I would say most
of the subclasses.
Which is more than half, probably have.
I think my favorite of the ones that I contributed to was the Oath of Castigation Nemesis. I don't know if we ended up, it was a 1d12 table. I don't know if we had to cut it down to 1d10. I can't remember where we shook out.
I think we ended up cutting 2.
God.
I think.
God. That was one of my favorites.
I love the alchemical implements that Dan did.
Oh, yeah.
And the...
those are perfect.
Yeah. Coming up with the diseases was very fun.
The diseases, that was you. You spearheaded the diseases.
Coming up with just nasty, gross, disgusting...
The philosopher, it's basically what was the inciting event that put you on the quest of philosophy.
So good.
And so I see a lot of people asking if you backed the Crooked Moon Kickstarter or pre-order on BackerKit. It is not at all connected. It is not at all related.
Gotcha.
You cannot make any swaps or changes. This is a brand new bespoke product. It is not a VTT offering. It is not the PDF. It is a brand new thing that is not being offered by. It is being offered on Wizards of the Coast's platform, D&D Beyond. It is not offered on our website or on our BackerKit store. It is hosted by. It is a Wizards of the Coast product in collaboration with us.
Yes. One thing I want to say, Lone Guard has a great question, and I think our wonderful mod is asking this because it keeps coming up. Can you elaborate more about what date you'll be able to access it on D&D Beyond, and if it will be useful with 2014 and 2024? So the first thing, launch date is June 17th at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific.
Noon.
In terms of what version, it is written in the 2024 version. But how D&D Beyond works is they have set it up where 2024 content plugs into the legacy character sheets.
Yeah.
So it's all usable no matter what your character sheet is. All of our content will be usable across both versions of classes, and so on. And so, hopefully that answers that question.
Yeah. The way that they articulate it in the copy there is how it works. And so,
yes,
use that as gospel. I completely forgot. I saw people talking about it. How could I forget about my favorite personal contribution and my favorite part of the book? I completely forgot Fate Weaving.
Oh,
Fate Weaving.
Well, Nude Ear has a wonderful question, and I scroll all the way down to snipe this because I think it's worth mentioning. Nude Ear asks, is that a reference to Udir?
Udir.
New Udir, the rework.
Yeah.
Can you talk on the Fate Weaving? Can you talk on the Fate Weaving system at all? I'm really curious. Just a tidbit. I can see in your faces how bad you want to burst when it comes up.
I think it's what I'm the most proud of. I think it was when I had like a series of. Richie was like, "You gotta hurry, Mike. We're running out of time. You gotta keep going. You've spent so much time on this."
I was shaking Mike, and I can't tell you the hours that he put into this thing. But then, he drafted that first chunk that you wrote that took you like a week, and it wasn't that many words.
Yeah.
But I read it, and I was just like, it blew my fucking mind. Anyway, continue.
The Fate Weaving system is interfaces directly with the Crooked Moon Adventure campaign, and it provides 13 different threads of fate where you select it, where your players will select it, and then that gives them a suggested backstory influence, motivation, and tools to help build their character. And then there are points throughout the adventure, where things relevant to each of those threads will show up. So things that are relevant to that character who selected that thread of fate will discover parts of their own personal quest throughout the main adventure, and just all the tools are provided for you of how you run that, and then you are also gaining rewards and boons as you complete those challenges. And eventually, you have a separate conclusion and catharsis for your character story beyond just the conclusion and catharsis of the overall story of the Crooked Moon. And so, I would, for folks who are using it, I would love to know how it's working out. I am extremely proud of it. I really like how it turned out. That is a pat on the back to me. I also want to call out something I'm saying.
Yes.
People are asking, well, I hope it comes out in Foundry, etc. It is coming out in Foundry. It is coming out in Foundry. D&D Beyond, Crooked Moon is coming out in Foundry, Roll20, and Alchemy.
Enhanced.
Do we have any kind of date, any estimate?
So, what I will say is that for our VTTs, which were included as a stretch goal in our original campaign,
Yes.
that's still coming. If that was in your order, that is still coming. We announced that we were fulfilling those in Q3 of 2025. What I will say, and this is not an announcement,
No.
but it is very likely it will be sooner than that.
A lot sooner.
Finally,
some good fucking news. How often do you say you're fulfilling early?
And so,
I'm gonna take that dub.
because all of this is we're working with lots of third-party folks.
Yep.
A lot of this is out of our control.
Yeah.
But what it is seeming like is that we are hoping to fulfill most, if not all, of the VTT stuff that we can currently, because those that don't know, Roll20 2024 just does not exist on Roll20. That's not us. That's a whole Roll20 thing. 2024 is not turned on. It's not enabled yet. So we won't be able to get that done until they figure that out. But for all the stuff that we can fulfill, we're hoping to have it done around the time or before it launches on D&D Beyond.
Yeah.
So
that is the goal, the hope.
That's the hope.
If all
That's
things
not
go-
an announcement. We're still saying Q3
Yeah.
officially.
But if all things go according to plan,
Yes.
you can choose your VTT or D&D Beyond all at the same time.
We have learned when it comes to estimating timelines, we want to make sure that we're not constantly pushing it. And so we're still targeting Q3 because we just didn't know VTTs were such a black box.
It's very much
We
a
just
black box.
didn't know really how it was going to go. We didn't know the process. It's very different from writing a book.
Oh my God.
And so, but our hope is that they are fulfilling soon, within a month. Or maybe a month from today. Who knows? I'm not announcing anything. I'm not announcing anything, but maybe a month from today.
That would be awesome.
Anyway. Palo Meme has a great question. Did you guys ever think you'd have your content on D&D Beyond?
No.
No, that is
Not in a
I'm going to be
million
very
years.
honest. That's one of those things that I always thought was
Not in a million
like
fucking
a
years.
pipe dream. But mostly because I'll be honest, mostly because when we first started using D&D Beyond, there was no avenue. That wasn't even remotely an option.
No.
It wasn't even until then we see Critical Role stuff on there, and it's like, oh well, it's fucking Critical Role.
Critical Role.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, when are if
Yeah.
Critical Role can do it, great. It's like, but there's nothing else. There's no other path. Like
Yeah.
you have to be Critical Role, right? And then we started to see
And
Ghostfire,
then Dungeons of Drakkenheim.
the Dungeon Dudes.
Dungeon Dudes and from Ghostfire and Dungeon Dudes, which is an excellent fucking adventure.
And then
it's one
we
of the
were
best
like-
adventures I've ever read in my entire life. Not sponsored, but Dungeons of Drakkenheim is fucking amazing.
So as soon as we saw that, that's
As soon
when
as
I
we
was
saw
like,
that, then we're like, oh,
well,
announced
maybe.
during
But you
PAX
got,
Unplugged 2023.
but you
after our
also have to
campaign.
keep in mind that not only did Critical Role have to get on there, and then the Dungeons had to get on there. We had to have a $4 million Kickstarter, and so it's like all these things had to fall in line, and all of a sudden it was like, oh
yeah,
my
Humblewood
gosh,
and then Cobalt Press.
it's possible.
here's
Yeah,
the
MCDM started getting on
All of
there.
a sudden it was possible.
Yeah, suddenly the gates open.
But even then, those are all publishers that have been around a lot longer than we
Right,
have.
yeah.
And they've had many, many, many projects, right? And so for us to kind of have our first project beyond D&D Beyond, and it's this platform that we just personally have been using since 2018,
2018, yeah.
is kind of wild. It's kind of fucking wild.
I feel like it was earlier than that.
I don't think
We
was
got
around
well.
then.
I got on D&D Beyond well before Wizards acquired it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
When it was
We were using it when it was
when there was a phone app for it, and
yeah,
then
the
that
folks
went
down
down.
in Georgia, the original.
Yeah, the OG.
I'm pretty sure
Was
we
it
got
owned by
onto D&D
Overwolf?
Beyond probably just a couple of months after it became.
I think it was owned under
No,
there.
Nikki was the early adopter. Nikki used it like immediately. And then
Yeah, it
the
was
rest of
amazing.
us sort of slowly transitioned.
And Derek was the
That's
last
why. That's
holdout.
why Sylvia's our very
So,
first character
in
on
our
D&D
account,
Beyond.
Sylvie's first, and then Toa,
Yep.
and then not Morning Frost, but Booming Peak.
Booming
Yeah.
Booming Peak.
Yeah, that's
Booming
wild.
Pink.
I
Have you
probably-
ever told about Booming Pink?
I'm sure I've mentioned it over the
Richie's
years.
Tabaxi Monk.
I'm sure maybe it's on the wiki.
Booming
But
Peak.
yes,
Yeah, it'd be
it was my
wild.
home game.
Yeah.
I played a Tabaxi monk. Named Booming Peak.
If you're just joining us and haven't seen the Crooked Moon, we apologize that we do not have a good resource for you to see all the subclasses and species. We want to change that.
I'm looking to rectify that.
In a perfect world, I would love to have an MMO style website where people can go in and say, I want to look at all the tell me about the races and tell me about the subclasses.
We will do that. That's
Yeah.
not an if. That's a when.
I think that's a. We
just
can probably get that up and running.
It's a matter of time.
Yeah.
And
Not
so I
before June
want
1st.
people
Not Fortune first.
No.
Let's say, watch your mouth.
No,
Shortly
no, no,
after.
no, no.
Rich,
maybe.
do you have a pink in this color? Do you think,
A pink?
or do you have a paint? In
Nothing
this color?
that fluorescent.
No, that's yeah.
Because this is an airbrush
No, that'll work.
color. Well, it's like very wet.
Shake it up.
Shake it up. Shake it up. Shake it up. Shake it up. Shake it up.
Do you get the pre-order bonuses even if you only pre-order the player options?
Yes.
I believe you get half and half. Is it split up or is it just everything?
I don't know.
We'll confirm that. That's a
We'll
wonderful
confirm that. It's a good
question.
question.
Thank
Hold on. Allow me to investigate.
you. And we're keeping our questions focused on Crooked Moon, folks. So if your question gets skipped and then you ask
What I'm going to
something
say
not related-
here is that on part 2, it says 4 frames and 10 backdrops.
Okay.
So if you get
long as you pre-order
anything,
everything. There you go.
If you get anything, if you get part 1, you get part 2, or you get the bundle, you get the 4 frames and the 10 backdrops by Titus Luckner. Unbelievable artist of Magic the Gathering fame, I believe, is what he's best known for. Second best known for Crooked Moon.
Yami Kitty Cat asks, can you go on the record for people who are asking if you pre-order a box, do you get D&D Beyond for free? No. This is a brand new offering.
It has nothing to do with our
offering has
Kickstarter.
It's not a
nothing
part
to do
of
with
the
our Kickstarter. It has nothing to do with BackerKit. This wasn't even a glimmer in our eye when we launched the Kickstarter or built the BackerKit store. So this is a brand new offering that we unveiled today for the first time.
Yep. And there will continue to be, we had convention exclusive giveaway dice and pins about the Hypno-Vulfin. That was not part of it. And we'll continue to release more and more Crooked Moon line items that have nothing to do, that are not part of the Kickstarter campaign, not part of BackerKit. We might even have merch related to the Crooked Moon that is
It's not related
to the All-In Bucks, not related to the Kickstarter.
Yes.
It's all new.
Is this reasonable?
This looks excellent.
Not bad, right?
That looks awesome.
Starry Squid.
Very well done.
Thank you.
Would any of the DMs run the Crooked Moon campaign, or have y'all looked at the book too much? I would. Nikki, why don't you answer that?
I don't think I'd be. Horror is not really my thing,
No, yeah, you're right.
and so
You've never really done it before.
I haven't done it before.
No.
And I'm a little intimidated
No.
by the size of this book.
It's a big book.
Plus, I don't know if I'd be able to learn it. Like, I'd have to read it, like, at least twice.
You've never run anything even really similar?
No,
Featuring
and
characters that, like, you doing the voice of Adela, I don't think you
that would
could
be
crack it.
so weird.
So what I would
Yeah,
say,
yeah, I just don't
is
think it
that
would be good for me.
I think I'm very selfish, even though I was the lead writer. I would love to DM a Crooked Moon campaign and then play in a Crooked Moon campaign that Nikki DMs. That's how much I love this adventure. I think both of us would do it very differently and both very well.
Yeah.
Because I want to play in a campaign, and I also want to DM it. It's a lot of fun.
You know, some people are joking, like, horror in the Adventures channel, which I agree, I think we do horror very well. But you'd be surprised how many people at conventions and stuff and in the industry is like, wait, why did you guys do folk horror? You guys are a comedy troupe. And which has been a big
is true.
learning for us is that so much of our audience has no idea what we do outside of shorts. And so it's been kind of an education of like, hey, we have these funny
We do
shorts
it all,
over here,
baby.
but we do all this other stuff.
The
Check it out.
giant net where we catch 100 gar in That's the funny unhinged shorts. But we do every flavor, baby.
What are this gar?
Cyber Rider.
500 guard.
Was there a moment where you truly almost gave up on the Crooked Moon, and if so, what kept you moving forward?
No, you couldn't.
So what I want to say is absolutely not.
No.
We felt an obligation to our customers as a publishing company to deliver the products that we sold. And go ahead.
Here's what I was gonna say, because I was actually just explaining to somebody over the weekend, like, kind of what Kickstarter is and how it works, right?
Yeah.
And like, quite literally, when it comes to crowdfunding, there is no legal obligation to fulfill anything that we promised,
Yeah.
right? We could have set out to be like, we're gonna hawk this book, see that we made all this money, and be like, all right, peace.
Yeah.
Oh, we couldn't do it.
People have done
no. It's happened.
Yeah.
And that is a bad thing, because it creates distrust amongst the crowdfunding community, and it's just not a good thing.
Yep.
No one in their right mind, if they are setting out to start a legitimate business and become a pillar of their industry, would cut and run for any amount of money.
That's correct.
We have it in our best interest, in your best interest, to deliver on every promise and then some, and to make it the single greatest product that exists.
Yeah.
Because we want to be a publishing company till the heat death of the universe.
And like I mentioned, is where like there, not only were we not ever close to, was not even remotely even a thought in our eye to give up on it.
No.
To the point of where, like, we've mentioned this before on stream, of where, like, many of us completely broke ourselves, mind, body, and spirit.
But what I want to say, and I think maybe
order to
what
get
this
it
question
done.
is getting at,
Yeah.
is that I think we had a decision point when Nikki kind of raised the alarm
You're right.
bells.
This is a good-
Oh,
this is a
like-
good point.
Hey,
Do we just send it?
we need extensive rewrites, right? We could have just been like, you know what? The project is already over budget. We're already over time, right? Like,
We're going to put out what we have.
Let's just ship what we have. Because we have a book, we have words, we have the word count.
I would never have been able to sleep another night in my life.
The other thing that I'll say too
Never.
is the absolute worst case scenario would have been us taking a step back and been like, you know what? We seriously fucked up. We'll deliver this thing in 5 years. Like, that's the worst case. You know what I mean? There was no world where it wasn't going to be done. It might have just taken us in a different reality 6 times as long. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Right? Like, it would have happened kicking and screaming. We would have gotten it done.
It would have gotten done, right? And I think what we decided to do, right, was to effectively, for many of us,
Right.
break ourselves and cancel all of our streams, all of our campaigns, work every waking hour, and that is not an exaggeration. For
A lot of Adderall,
half a year.
a lot of energy drinks, a lot of 75, a lot of fried rice.
And I believe
Fried rice is the real one.
all of the 4 a.m. crash outs that Mike and I had, all of the
Oh my god, the fucking crash out that everyone had a
dark
fucking experience with me.
moments that we will never speak of.
Oh, I mean, I was gonna tell everyone about October 3rd.
No. You should not remember October 3rd for some reasons, but not other reasons.
No, not others.
We will never share that story.
That was all the fucking match, bro.
Anyway, so if that's what you mean, there are plenty of dark moments, but not once did we ever think we can't do this.
It wasn't an option.
We always
Nope.
found the will to soldier on.
And it's one of those things of where we are very fortunate because the Kickstarter did so well, and that the pre-orders have been doing very well, and that we also have a whole supplementary company of the streaming and all of that to supplement it, that we had the ability that very few publishers, any game publisher has, of where every single decision that we make is entirely based on delivering the highest quality product to the customer. Most companies couldn't say, we're gonna take a massive hit on the dice, the quality has to be better. We're gonna take a massive hit on the miniatures, the quality has to be better. We're gonna take a massive hit on our timelines and cash flow, and we're gonna basically extend and rewrite almost the entire book. 150 pages or 550 pages of the book.
Yeah.
Right? Like, other publishers don't have that luxury. And so
we're very fortunate.
we're
we
very
have the
fortunate.
option.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Like, forget
And
all the
so
sweat equity,
we are
right?
able to basically say we're going to take all of these hits into the war chest and all these hits into the margins in order to make sure that the quality is when people open that fucking box, that all-in box. I'll be fucking damned if you don't say things that make you say hell
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh, I gotta read this. Witchy Beh. Shout out to your local Chinese place that was kept alive during the writing of this.
East Dumpling House.
The amount of fried
Let's go.
rice that
That is
both
very
Mike
funny.
and I ate, but really Mike ate 10 times more fried rice than I did. Because I just got sick of it to a certain point. They use a lot of onion
I'm a
powder.
simple man. I'm a simple man. When I like something, I'll just get it over and over
It was
again.
fueled.
They took it, well, because they had a BOGO. So it was buy one, get one. So I ordered 12 to 16 at a time. And then I would literally wake up, heat up a fried rice. When I woke up, I'd eat it. I'd work. Heat up a fried rice. I would go to bed. I ate 2 a day. I had 6 to 8 days ready to go.
Yeah,
And then I rinsed and repeated.
that's right.
You're a simple man.
Simple man. Simple man, bro. You know?
I don't know if this was asked before. Are these classes 2024 compatible or just 2014? They will work with both. They are written for 2024.
Correct.
But they work for the 2014
2014.
versions of the classes in D&D Beyond.
2024 is extremely compatible. For the 2014 version of our book, we went above and beyond, almost to the point of absurdity,
Right.
in order to make sure that it felt 2014, even like just lowercasing things and things, just because that we wanted to make sure that it felt as comfortable and familiar to folks as possible.
Keeley has a fun question. Was there something that got left on the Crooked Moon cutting room floor that you wish could have made it, but you had to let it go?
Good question. A lot got cut. A lot got cut. Can you imagine we had a fucking 150-page book? You know what? A lot of the meta stuff about the Fallen.
Yeah.
A lot of the meta stuff about the Fallen, a lot of the... I had the realization that when you're writing for mass audiences, and you're writing an adventure of this size and scope, if I wanted to have all of this deep, interweaving, interconnected stuff, more than we already had, I think it's still deeply interwoven and interconnected, but to go to where I had originally wanted, we would have needed another 100 pages. At least. And so a lot of that was just like, this isn't working, it's clunky, it's obtuse, there's no good way to structure it, there's no good way to slot it in, and it's just taking up too much fucking page space. Let the GMs GM is kind of what I had to learn. I have to let the GMs GM. All of the information is there. I don't need to tell them how to foreshadow and interweave and to do all that stuff. That's
God.
my...
I think we had ideas for chapters that just would be too big.
Yeah.
Um,
I want to call out Fungusign Live real quick. Will that all end up in Crooked Tune? That's very funny. No.
very funny.
If there is a Crooked Moon 2, the story of the Fallen is done. They are done forever.
Yep.
Everything with the Fallen and those characters is all told in Crooked Moon Volume 1. I think I can confidently say that.
I agree. In terms of cut content, oh god, there were some fun monsters that we had art of, and that were designed. That was designed that didn't make it in. And I will say anything. There was stuff that takes place in the valley where we had more like, hey, here's just extra stuff.
Yep.
To fill your adventure with.
Yep.
That is happening around the valley. We had some stuff in the Webwoods. We had some stuff. There's a tower. There was some other stuff where, like, you know, not that stuff literally would have exactly stayed word for word.
Yeah.
But I would have loved to have the space to have the Valley chapter where it's like, here's even more shit for you to do.
But we had too much shit.
There's way too much shit.
It was too much shit.
We had ideas of here's a bunch of shit for you to do in Wickermore Village, but you know, between chapters, there was just too much.
Yep.
There was just too much.
Yep. You learn about the realities when you kind of go in without a plan and without knowing what you're doing. And then you learn the realities of the industry and what it takes to make a book, and you know.
A bunch of people have been asking this, and we've said it before, but Witchy Bit asked, will there be discount codes for pre-orders? This launch is a brand new offering from us. It's not at all connected to the pre-orders of the Unbacker Kit or to the Kickstarter project. So
it's
there's
just
no,
like
there's
how
no
if
connection.
you got the all-in box or if you got the VTT and you got the Roll20, you don't get a discount code for also the Alchemy.
Right.
You don't
Or
get both
also-
the Alchemy. You don't get all three.
Right.
You have to choose. You have to choose Alchemy Enhanced, Foundry, or Roll20. Very similar. It's one or the other, and this is just not at all connected. Yeah. It's a new offering.
Rar asks, due to the massive growth y'all have had over the years, if the Once Upon a Witchlight dice do extremely well, could we possibly see more campaign-style dice, like possible Crooked Moon-themed dice, or I really hope Icebound?
Is it possible? It's certainly possible.
It's certainly possible. I would say never. You know, we're open to ideas, and we know that our other campaigns are underserved currently. There are some sort of economic realities.
Yeah.
That we have to kind of work through. But I would love to get to the point where our audience is big enough where bespoke merch for less popular campaigns makes sense.
Yeah. And we will find a way to make, even if it's few and far between, I think we'll figure out a way to make like little stealth drops work. You know, targeted tactical drops.
Yeah.
Look at the animated frames. It's not animated here, but you can see how it's wicker. It's cool.
Those are some of the basically it animates it.
It
like
animates
this,
and it does a thing,
and
and
it
like
does
a
this.
what do you call that? Line of cut.
Tigri Cappuccino asks, what is y'all's favorite boss and boss abilities from the Crooked Moon?
I'm gonna pull up the PDF.
What the hell?
This is a really good question.
It's a really good question. I'm gonna search.
My favorite boss is the Grinning Sinner.
Duh.
I'm biased.
I'm biased too.
But I think that Dan did such a good job making him feel like a blunderbuss wielding Jinxcraft.
Coffin riding.
Jinxcraft partitioning.
Gambler,
practitioning.
swingler. Oh my god, it's so fucking
And
good.
I
bro.
will say, instead of a favorite ability, I'm going to say I love the features of the Jinxcraft Casino. And luck and fate factoring into that fight, and the pocket dimension that it's in, and the map. Just, it all works together so beautifully.
The map was going to be my answer for why I'm biased about the Crimson Abbot.
Crimson Abbot gets 2 maps.
2 maps.
Because of the second map.
It has a fighting game style stage jump.
The second map
first-
is I saw that and I was
Yeah.
like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I am a big fan. Hold on. I want to say. I think I gotta go with the Horn King. It feels like a final boss fight. It feels appropriately climactic.
I love that if you accept the taste of butter and to live deliciously earlier in the chapter, you are fucked in the final fight. It just fucks you. It's like you can contribute, but you're fucked. like you do not contribute. Because you made a deal. You made a deal with the Horn King.
And that's one of his legendary actions is temptation. The Horn King speaks to a creature can see within 120 feet and offers either heroic inspiration or inspiration in 2014, or to restore 20 hit points.
Yeah.
You want a free reroll? Here you go. I'll take that bit. But for the next minute, you are cursed. And the Horn King is resistant to all damage that the target deals.
I love that for those
A
that
little
don't
bit of Slanesh.
Yeah, so I was
From-
gonna
I was gonna say
say
that's
The
very
Hedonites of Slanesh from Age of Sigmar.
I love that temptation, but you get kind of cursed because of it. It's just so good.
And I think that players who are not metagamers, I would hope that they would maybe consider that deal, even if they realize.
Oh, I mean, here's the thing. If let's say I was playing Briggsy, even though he's in it, right? Let's say I was playing Briggsy, he was fighting the Horn King, and he was on the verge of death. He would take that. Like it doesn't matter. He would accept, and he would be cursed.
Well, I mean, there's also a metagame element, like if he offers it to the cleric, that's not damaging. I'll take it. Oh, you're resistant to me? Okay, whatever.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna heal my friends.
That's true.
Another favorite ability is the Wicker Man. Cremating Flame. Recharge 6. 60-foot cone. DC 18 dexterity saving throw. If you fail, 10d6 fire damage. If you succeed, half damage. Any creatures reduced to 0 hit points by this is immediately turned into ash, and their soul is absorbed, sacrificed and absorbed by the Wicker Man.
Yeah,
and he gets a soul. He sucks as a soul.
The Wicker Man is my favorite mini that we have, and so I'm very biased.
This creature cannot be restored to life by any means until the Wicker Man is destroyed. That is some fucking Kino shit. The bestiary really is like Dan cooked. Dan fucking cooked.
One thing that I want to say is I think the Moonfall bosses are like
underrated.
I was gonna say
Underrated.
super underrated. I haven't seen anyone talking about them, but we have 8 giant epic level bosses that are the fucking Wild Titan, the Jinxcraft Leviathan, are just so all of them.
The Dusk Mother.
Fucking, they're just
Whose
so
art is
good.
amazing.
What I'm gonna say is that we did not put in the ability of the Wild Titan for when he roars, you can fail and turn into an Alpengrendel.
Yes.
So I put it into the adventure chapter.
That's right.
Because no one could stop me there.
That's right.
That's very
No
funny.
one could stop me there. So if you hear his roar, it goes. And you are forcibly transformed into an Alpengrendel forever, and you become a Titan yourself. And
Jinxie the Fox asks, which race or species do you like the most from the Crooked Moon and why? I love all of them for different reasons. If I were to pick a favorite...
I love all of them.
God. No, but if we have to pick one.
Pick one. Pick one.
Threadborn.
Threadborn is a good one. You know, I hate to say it, it is the most popular species by a metric fucking country mile. But I gotta say, after writing Pico, I think that's all. The best contribution of my entire life was writing Funtopia and Pico. That's the best writing I've ever done.
Yeah.
That's the best writing that I've ever fucking done. Go look at Funtopia in chapter 1 in Pico. That, I mean, all of the provinces I wrote, but I think Funtopia in Pico is my magnum opus. I don't know how I improve from there as a writer.
It's very good.
My
favorite species is either the Curseborn or the Relicborn.
Curseborn's definitely one of my top up there.
Harvestborn is up there for me.
I think that both of those, I mean for all of them, but for both of those, the spirit of the province and the land that rebirthed them is so crystalline in their design. It's just excellent.
I think those are my picks too.
Yeah, I think we're pretty aligned on that.
You know what I want to call out? I think, unfortunately, we got a lot of art done and stuff and made a lot of determinations before everything was written. We kind of things backwards. I think I was sleeping on the Graveborn. But I think House Andromus shook out.
Oh, yeah.
The province is so good.
Yeah.
And, like, the species culture of that province is so fucking Kino.
Yeah.
It ended up being really fucking cool. I wish we could have, like, gone back and... I mean, all of the art. I wish we could have gotten back...
For all the province art, like, you might notice that the art doesn't, like, super match the words in some places.
As much as we would like.
As much as we would have liked. That's why, right? Is that basically we
You
have
did it backwards.
Eureka's and get ideas as we're writing and developing these provinces.
When you rewrite it and the art's already done, like, I'm going to always prioritize having it be a better written than being 100% match.
That's correct.
What I will say is that Edwardia gave me I spent days on Edwardia. It was 3 fucking pages. 3 fucking pages. Days. And it gave me so much fucking trouble. It almost beat me. But I think what came out of it is like one of my favorite provinces.
Well, and that's why I said Curseborn.
Yeah.
It's the idea of the Grey unlocked that province. Remember when we were like sitting there like, it needs to, like, why does this exist? This needs to have a reason to
I
exist.
sat there for literally 5 days staring at it saying, why does this province exist?
Yeah, I remember. Clearly.
I just had to literally, it was just all of the tumblers of like picking a lock, all turning. And eventually it clicked, but it just took me like a week.
DM Morrissey has an interesting question. Do y'all know if Crooked Moon content such as spells and subclass deals are going to be available on websites like 5e Tools?
If it is, it's not legal.
Yeah, it's not legal. So we're not going to comment on that.
Yeah, I'm not going to comment. If it is, it's not legal.
Yeah, so we certainly won't put it on.
We're not putting it on there, nope.
Are the Edge of Midnight classes / subclasses included with the Crooked Moon? No, those
just
are
Wizards of the Coast.
Those are official WotC subclasses.
You find those in WotC books.
Marius is an Oath of
Conquest.
The Crown,
and then Conquest. Briggsy is a Hexblade.
Warlock.
Right? Warlock. Jericho is a College of
Whispers and then Spirits.
Whispers and then Spirits.
And then Spirits.
Lethica was a Trickery and then Shadow Domain.
Twilight
Domain.
Twilight.
Yorgrim is an Ancestral Guardian, and Farron is a Circle of Spores.
All of that's WotC products.
Hello Kiwi asks, when will the physical stuff be shipped out? Shipping will begin in August. So,
freight is not shipping.
yes, so
Okay.
I'm presuming they mean when is it going to get shipped from the...
Oh, okay,
they don't
got it. They don't
care
care
what a
about it.
fulfillment center is,
Nobody,
right?
nobody knows about
They want to
3PL.
know when they get the shipping notification and it's on their
I
way to
feel
the
like
house.
people, when they can track the ship across the sea, that'll be pretty fun.
So that's a fun thing, and
That'll
maybe
be fun.
folks don't know this, is that once
don't.
it leaves the factory, it gets loaded into containers and it gets put on ships and goes across the ocean. We're going to be able to give you all a link, and everyone can track the ships as they sail around the world. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
You feeling
Hopefully
good?
they avoid pirates.
Yes, there are lots of pirates.
Proud of
apparently.
yourself?
Making progress. No.
The world, yeah, there's a lot
You
of pirates.
should be,
There's a lot of
Andrew.
pirates. So hopefully.
Ew. Yeah, me either. You should see the disaster.
And
that
thank you for all the congrats. It means a lot.
Yeah,
I saw
thank you for
Brett
the
Olsen
congrats.
in
You're
here.
a
Thank
professional.
you for- Thank you so
That's
much
not
for
me.
the
Practice
congrats.
makes perfect.
So and remember, we haven't said it in a while. You only have a little over a
It's
month
so
to
clumpy.
pre-order
It's
the Crooked
so
Moon on D&D
clumpy.
Beyond
It's gonna turn out great.
and unlock the
So
amazing
bad.
pre-order bonuses of 4 frames for your character sheet, 2 animated, 2 static, and then 10 backdrops. 10 backdrops, all pieces by the incredibly talented Titus Hunter of Magic the Gathering fame and otherwise.
I'm going to reword this question a little bit from Savvy, but this is for anybody, but maybe particularly for Nikki and Mike.
Oh.
Any advice for a first-time GM running the Crooked Moon campaign? Things that they should prep in advance, prepare for? I actually have one.
I was gonna say I've got one.
As
Just
lead
general.
editor, an editor-in-chief of the Crooked Moon,
I feel like you're gonna take mine.
study the backstory
Yeah, you
of
got one.
Kellen,
Okay.
the Fallen, Philip, and Adela, Chapter 8. Study that information. Because it's easy to read it all, and then you get to the chapter and be like, what the fuck? They don't go into any of this. And it's like, no, it was in Chapter 8. So, anyway.
Yours is much more targeted to exactly what I was gonna say, and it's just generally good, like module or adventure advice, and that is
Right.
like read it all first a couple of times before you ever sit down to fucking do anything. Because the better you know it, just like you just said with Chapter 8, the better
Yes.
you know it, the less you're gonna be scrambling when you have to, you know, make adjustments on the fly and have to react to what your players do, and you just got to know the adventure inside and out. The better you know it, the more of a service you're going to do yourself.
Yep.
Is all.
Nikki,
I was
Michael.
going to say what Andy said. I think the biggest trap that people run into is they get bogged down about, I don't understand this, I don't understand this. And it was stated in Chapter 10, Running the Adventure. I believe that's Chapter 10.
9.
Chapter 9. Fuck! Chapter 10 is Ghostlight Express!
Ghostlight Express. God.
Ah!
Some lead writer he
I
is.
fucking suck.
To put it into
oh,
perspective,
sorry.
no, I was just going to say, just to layer on all of this, before we run a single session
Read all of it.
of The Enemy Within, I will have read 12 books, not counting the rules.
That's fucked up, and I love that.
It's a lot of
So
rules.
I will read all of it before we play a single session of The Enemy Within. And you're just doing yourself a favor by just knowing it. The better you know it, the better off you'll be.
Get familiar with the different groups within Wickermore Hollow. The newcomers, the
Bright
every
Singers.
yes, exactly. Every single
Yeah.
one of them is important because you have the ability. the NPCs might have a group that they are a part of, but you can change that if you want to. And so just make yourself a little guide of each one that you put on your GM screen for kind of what their tenets are, the things that they believe in, who would fit well into them. So that way, if you need to change something on the fly or you need to give someone a path on the fly, you can do that. That will be really important. And play with it, because that's going to be a huge part of folk horror is,
right.
Making sure that the people have grouped themselves up in this way and that you can use that to your advantage. Since everything that they said is exactly what I would tell you normally, I figured I'd give you that as well.
Another thing, what Nikki said is very true. One of the things that also ended up on the cutting room floor is there've been some comments of like, it feels like the chapters are just like one thing to the next thing to the next thing. And it's like you're bouncing back and forth, and that's by design, because we had to cut like all of the deliberate interweaving, and so there's a lot of meat in the Wickermore Village chapter. Please use it.
Yep.
Don't sit at their tables and then throw it out. The rituals and the quest hooks in there, and the NPCs are in there to be interacted with. You will have such. If the campaign takes you 3, 4, 5 years, well, it might. But like, I think it'll be good. Please flesh out Wickermore Village. Take the tools in that chapter and flesh it out. Use the quest hooks, use the rituals, use the NPCs. Make it feel like a real lived-in place, and your players are going. It'll be hard. It'll be difficult. I hope people can talk about it in the Discord, but I think that will lead to a very, very satisfying folk horror adventure.
Cherry has a great question. So excited for the minis. They're absolutely beautiful. Do y'all have a favorite design? I have 2.
All of the final miniature sculpts are by the wonderful Andrew Martin. Monster Caesar on socials, especially on YouTube. He got notoriety where if you've seen the video of the sculptor whose Enchanted Tiki Room drummer sculpt got stolen by Disney and sold at parks, that's him. He is the official Evantris miniature sculptor, and he's amazing. He crushed every single one. I think I have to say the Wicker Man. It was the first one he sculpted. It's the poster child.
It's iconic.
It's iconic.
It's iconic.
He nailed it.
Thank you, Shark Pup, for the 10
Shark
gifted
Pup.
subs.
This is not the final color. We went with a little bit more of an autumnal, but just look at this absolute fucking unit. Look how scary it is. You can buy this as perhaps possessed by the spirit of the Crooked Man. And people, and you know what, people, and speaking of why you should read the module.
And it's fucking hardy. It's not gonna break.
People were like, when I did this very sloppy unboxing that I posted to the Crooked Moon Discord, and people were like crying inside when I dropped them. I occasionally dropped the minis. I'm like, these minis can handle. Obviously, don't
can take
hurt
a
your
punch.
minis.
Don't throw them against the wall.
Throw them against the wall, like handle them. But like, if you accidentally like drop the mini,
He's not gonna have fiddly bits.
it's
that
not
It's
stick.
not like when you
3D
3D print
yeah.
something where you literally breathe on it and it literally splinters into
Explodes.
ash.
I have a few. Grinning Sinner, I'm biased.
Yeah.
Because Andrew Martin designed it from scratch.
Yes, correct.
We did not have that design.
Nope.
We could not get an artist to nail that design.
Yeah.
And Andrew Martin just fucking nailed it. From a selfish point of view, the Beast of Blight, and to kind of
That one's my second favorite.
lesser extent, the Chain Reaper, I sort of designed the silhouette and what the monster needed to look like.
Chain Reaper went through a few iterations.
Yeah, well, Chain Reaper, we were
that was rough.
struggling, and I literally had to go in, and we got a bunch of these concept arts, and I basically had to like Frankenstein in Photoshop. This is what the Chain Reaper needs to look like. This is what the Beast of Blight needs to look like.
Can I pause you real quick?
Yes.
I want to call it Cole Hatter's question. Will the STL's mod for the models be available anywhere? Yes. If you're just joining us and you want the physical edition, the PDF, any of the other VTTs, you want the STLs, all of the digital products besides the stretch goal VTT integration has all been delivered. It's all out.
It's out.
You can go to thecrookedmoon.com and get the VTT. Order the VTT right now. We have top-down digital tokens, handouts, obviously the PDF, both 2024 and 2014. We have a ton of digital offerings already fulfilled. Thecrookedmoon.com, and then if you want to order these guys and you want to be part of the first wave of fulfillment, you must make your physical order by the end of this month.
Yes.
Or you are A, missing out on all of the Kickstarter exclusives, which is the special Crooked Moon pin, the special Horn King skull pin, and the beautiful, stunning collector's coin featuring the Horn King and the Crooked Queen on either side. In a spinning, beautiful thing that's etched with the lyrics from one of our forthcoming songs on around the side of it to really enhance it.
Dun, dun, dun.
And you will miss out on that, and you will then wait to receive your product until everyone from the original backing and all of the pre-order up until the end of this month gets theirs. Then we will fulfill everyone else.
Yep.
So you need to order by the end of this month, or you will be in phase 2 fulfillment.
I want to snap off. Oh, any other thoughts? Favorite minis?
Yes, my favorite mini is the Ghostlight Express.
Oh yeah,
that is
fucking.
It is such a cool mini.
Can you grab me a
and
seltzer while you're up?
I just really, you want the peach one that I have? I'm not drinking it. It's
sure.
cold.
If you want to pass that over to me.
The ghost,
Get the whole box. Just do an unboxing live on fucking stream.
the Ghostlight Express is
That's
just
what I forgot
so
to bring
cool.
back. I have the minis.
I
I
love
had to measure them.
the
That's right.
faces
I meant to
in
bring
the
them
smoke.
today, and I
fine.
forgot. I'm
It's just
sorry.
very
That's
cool.
fine.
I was in a rush.
What?
That's
The
okay.
box is right here.
Well, there's more than one box. I have one of them.
These are the final minis.
What? Are they loose in a box?
Yeah.
Those are not the final.
No,
minis.
I have the ones
Andy
that
has
are
the
in
final
the
minis.
vacuum formed. I meant to bring it back tonight. I was in too much of a rush. I totally forgot.
By the way.
These colors are not final.
Oh, that's right.
This is not
we
the
can show them
final
on
color.
Wednesday. We can show them on Wednesday.
Yeah.
That's my bad.
This was while we were prototyping, but anyway, this is the Ghostlight Express. The color will be similar. It'll be a little more ghastly, not so saturated, and a little more green. Look at the size of this fucking thing. Like I have a huge.
Just
hand.
the detail on it is
And this is like
really,
the size of
really
my head.
cool.
I have huge hands. It's like the size of my hands.
I'm sorry, guys. I stole them for a very, very important
No, no,
purpose, and I forgot to bring
That's
them back.
way more important than us doing the unboxing.
I literally
what
set
you
them.
would
I
say.
set them right by my front door, and I was in such a rush that I just ran right past them because they were just a cardboard
They're
box. I
by
didn't
my
look at
front
it.
door.
Right by my front door.
I'll be waiting for you.
just
I
sitting
want to
right
snap
there.
off a question that was recently asked by Toriix Story. The 13 provinces aren't part of the main story from what I've gathered through reading. The details are more for one-shots or characters from the area, correct? Question mark? Yes.
Read that again.
Basically, the adventure has nothing to do with the 13 provinces of Druskenwald.
Correct.
The adventure happens necessarily in a small minor province of Wickermore Hollow. For us to tell a truly folk horror story,
Yeah.
the setting needed to be small, intimate, and isolated.
Yep.
And that is sort of
A
thematically
globe-trotting adventure is not a folk horror adventure.
correct. You can do it.
You can do it.
And there's plenty of quest hooks in there, which you can use as a character from that province or as a DM that wants to run
If you want to
one-shots.
homebrew, you should have the tools to be able to homebrew a pretty awesome epic campaign in Druskenwald with across the 13 provinces.
Miss Emily has a wonderful question. After the release date, will the deluxe or all-in box sets or the core box still be available just without the collector's coins or limited edition pins? I really want to get the all-in box
How did you know?
set, but I can't get it until after the release date. Yes, you can still get all 3 value boxes. We may rename them. We haven't talked about this internally.
Oh, yeah.
I think we rename them.
We probably will rename them.
Rename them. The price might change.
The price might change, so we can't
get
guarantee
the Kickstarter stuff.
that the price will exist, but you will be able to buy.
There
the
will be
boxes.
3 value boxes.
Yes, and they are the contents, not digitally, but the contents physically will remain. You won't get any digital products with them, right? You'll have to buy that separately.
Yep.
And you will not get the limited edition pins or coin. Correct. But you can still buy the box themselves. Correct. Boxes aplenty. After Crooked Moon, would you guys ever consider making another supplement? My group is so excited to play it, and our token paladin wanted me to ask this question. Would we ever consider making another supplement? You know, we spent all this time building a publishing company.
Yeah. It would be a shame.
It would be a shame not to make another supplement.
It would be a shame to not publish.
That's true. So what I will say is, when you build a company of 15 employees, you gotta keep throwing logs on that fire so they have stuff to work on.
Payroll's real expensive, folks.
It's very expensive. But what I will say is, I think it's obvious that we will make more stuff. The question is when and what, right? That's all to be seen.
Yep.
Distractor 77. If you had one thing about the Crooked Moon that you could say is a truly distinct as a concept,
Fate weaving.
what would it be?
Yeah, I think it's a really good fucking answer.
If there's something else that is remotely close to fate weaving in any other official or third party thing, let me know. I'm happy to be proven wrong. Scroll down. I can't see chat.
Oh, we're not caught up.
I feel like fate weaving is the
Fate weaving, I think, is extremely distinct, right? Like, and the adventure. Like, I don't know of an adventure like the one we've made.
I agree.
It just doesn't exist.
It might be the biggest 5e like adventure from like a major like publisher of all time. There's an adventure that's bigger than 350 pages, not including the fucking bestiary and all the items in it.
Oh my god.
Not including the
So
items
if
in
you
the
include
bestiary.
the items and the monsters, it's like a 500.
It's over 500
page
pages.
Adventure.
It's over 500 pages.
No WotC adventure's that big.
Hell no.
And I don't think any of
Strahd is lean and mean.
Yeah, it's big.
They have the sense to keep it. They have the sense to keep it fucking trim.
The Last Mohican says, when will all the physical stuff be sent out? If y'all know, is it after it ends in June? So the June is when the backer kit store closes and access to Kickstarter exclusive stuff ends. It goes on a ship in July, and it will sail across the ocean, and then it will get to the various warehouses we have around the world and begin shipping to our lovely customers in August. So to answer your question, the stuff will be sent out in August. We talked about this one.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a favorite reference or homage that's in the material from Nuskir?
There's a lot of them. Some people don't like our style in our wearing our influences on our sleeve. But
That ain't never changed.
I am a disciple of the great George R. Martin, who does that as well, and I really find that charming in his books. And
In Pico, in Funtopia,
oh,
there's a district of Funtopia called Stradania's Castlemania. And that's my favorite reference.
that's definitely up there. I think Captain Bones' Wild Slide
That's very
is
good.
a really good reference.
That's very good.
I mean, when you're in Funtopia, you can go to Captain Bones Lagoon, one of
right.
the districts of the city,
That's right.
and you can go to the legendary Captain Bones Wild Slide that never ends. It's a slide that never ends. And if that ain't one hell of a reference, I mean, that's one of my favorite. I mean, yeah, I love all of. I snuck in. I mean, the provinces
Oh my
have
god.
so many little sneaky. Because I'm like, no one's gonna fucking check this shit. No, I can do whatever I want. I can do whatever the fuck I want. So I snuck in a ton of fun little Easter eggs and references. Someone on was very funny on the Dungeons and Dragons channel posted the trailer for this, and we've never been called out, and there's no direct influence, but someone said Malifaux in D&D, and I'm like, the Grinning Sinner vibe is extremely Malifaux.
It's very Malifaux.
There's a lot of overlap of
Yeah.
Malifaux in, and there's similar influences for Malifaux. There were no direct influences.
Do
from
I have
Malifaux.
any fun references? There's a lot of over the garden wall stuff that we reference, obviously.
Oh, yeah. There was one where, because you can't trademark quotes, at least not that long. Is where like the Horn King in the chapter of the Crooked Trade, he kind of has like this the box text where he talks to you if you like turn down his offer for the final time. And I'm like, well, the beast says it's really fucking cold ass shit. I'm just gonna delete that shit whole cloth and throw that shit in, change a word or two.
I love that.
And I'm like, I am very I'm thrilled to do that. What are some other fun references that like maybe people wouldn't realize? Oh my god. Oh my god. Can I pull back the veil on the deepest cut? The deepest cut reference one of the deepest cut references.
From what? From where?
It's from fucking Skidder Deep Mine.
Yeah, it's fine.
There is spoilers for Skidder Deep Mine of the Crooked Moon Adventure. Spoilers for Skidder Deep Mine.
We haven't said spoilers for anything else. We talked about
Oh,
the
you've been
final
very
boss.
vague. This is very explicit. One of the when you go to Stenoga Black Stinger's laboratory, on the operating table is a curseborn or a plagueborn. It is the only lineage the reborn species of justice involved in the entire adventure. And basically, she is trying to find other species to turn into her. What do they call
Abominations.
What is
Fleshcraft.
What would the horses?
Flesh smokes.
No.
Flesh Dobbins.
Flesh
Oh,
Dobbins.
Dobbins.
Yeah.
Yes.
Flesh
that's what
Dobbin. And through his name, and his name is Walder Pye, P-Y-E. And it's extremely convoluted reference. Walder is referencing Walder Frey
Right.
from
That
Game of
is-
Thrones.
Song of Ice and
That
Fire.
is a really deep cut.
And Pye, because Lord Wyman Manderley getting revenge for the death of his son at the Red Wedding, had 3 Freys murdered and turned into pies that was then served in Winterfell. So Pye there. And then him being a rat, that is all an analogy of not just Walder Frey, but also the Freys and also Wyman Manderley is this story of the rat cook,
Yes.
of a violation of a guest right, of where a cook killed an Andal king, I think, came and he killed his son and fed him to him in the pie, and he was cursed by the gods into a horrible rat, and to curse to eat his son forever and ever.
We learned about
And
that
so-
when Bran is on his way to the wall, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So anyway,
That's deep cut.
That's
They
how
are
deep
deep
of a cut the layers of that reference was. It's
That
a
is-
completely
that's very
thing.
deep.
Yeah.
Frog Pedals has a quick question.
Curseborn.
Do you
I mean,
need
Plagueborn.
any of the paid subscription tiers on D&D Beyond to have access to the frames and backgrounds? No. If you pre-order it, doesn't matter what subscription you have. If it's free, you get access to it.
Oh, Yami Sphinx, are you guys okay with us using Crooked Moon imagery for tattoos? Yes. Our good friend Spencer on a bet when we said that he would get a tattoo if we hit 2 million. And we hit 4.
We did. So instead of getting
And
2
so-
tattoos, he's got a really big tattoo.
It was very big. It's awesome.
Um,
He's the best.
Bluegill ceramics. Can you guys define folk horror? I'm trying to describe the campaign to a friend of mine. That's interesting.
Can I just read?
Yeah, I mean, you crushed the intro, dude.
Can I read? I'm gonna read you the intro. You're getting this is free content
This is free content. This is in the book.
Free content.
because I feel like I did it really. The intro took me very long. It is not many pages, but it's one of those things where every single word matters.
Mm-hmm.
The intro to Fate Weaving was like this. The introduction to the book, the whole book was like this. Here, let me. What is folk horror? Despite being so deeply rooted in tradition and old superstition, the term folk horror is a surprisingly new articulation to describe a nebulously defined genre with a wide variety of media under its umbrella. The Crooked Moon looks to the work of writer and filmmaker Adam Scoville, who was also consulted on this intro as well. A great chap, so he's in the credits. To help define folk horror and guide its influence throughout the book. A work of folk horror might be one that utilizes folklore to instill a sense of uncanny dread, such as the 2015 film The Witch, presents a clash between the archaic and the modern, such as the 1973 film The Wicker Man, or creates its own folklore by weaving elements of a culture's collective consciousness, such as the 2014 series Over the Garden Wall. However, Scoville's framework of the folk horror chain unifies these archetypes and more into a broad but consistent definition. The folk horror chain. To determine what constitutes a folk horror story, Adam Scoville denotes 4 key narrative, thematic, or aesthetic aspects of a work that form a cause and effect series of links in a chain. 1. First chain. Landscape. The first link is the prominence of the landscape or environment, often becoming a living, breathing character of its own. These stories most often take place in rural locations and commonly focus on nature or agriculture. Most importantly, these remote landscapes isolate the characters and communities within them. Isolation. The people in these remote environments are cut off from the prevailing society and standard trappings of civilization. Whether a group of several characters or a small community, the folk of these stories find themselves separated from society physically, and most importantly, outside of its dominant ideologies and belief. The main action of many folk horror stories is initiated by outsiders, often representing modernity or urbanity, interloping into these communities. 3. Skewed morality. In these stories, the isolated communities and groups develop skewed belief systems, often manifesting in an adherence to ancient superstitions, the practice of the occult, or a hostile rejection of the morals of society at large. This strange and warped morality inevitably leads to a horrific action, and the final link of this chain, 4. The happening. Generally, at the climax of these stories, the skewed morality of the isolated groups living in a remote landscape manifests a supernatural or violent happening. The dreadful event might take the form of the summoning of an otherworldly entity, a ritual sacrifice, a demonic or ghostly possession, a bloody murder, or some other act of killing or occultism.
There it is.
When defined in this way, I'll finish the whole section.
Yeah.
When defined in this way, folk horror is a broad but thematically consistent genre that can include works from any narrative medium, time period, or global culture. The chain encompasses archetypal folk horror stories such as the 2019 Midsummer, as well as unexpected examples like the 1974 film The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and even genre-bending work like the 2007 film Hot Fuzz.
Oh, masterpiece.
While The Crooked Moon leans heavily upon the aesthetics, tropes, archetypes, and plot threads found in quintessential examples of folk horror, this book also draws inspiration from the wide umbrella of works encompassed by the folk horror chain, as well as elements of other horror subgenres such as gothic horror, body horror, cosmic horror, and more. You are encouraged to weave your own inspirations into your campaign and characters to achieve a cooperative horror story best suited for your table.
You'll notice that the definition, or that it didn't talk about cryptids.
Yes.
It didn't talk about monsters from folklore, earth folklore. I think a lot of folks hear folk horror and they assume that those two things are what this book's about. Very much it is not. It's about the modernity versus tradition and isolation, and all that other stuff makes sense.
Yeah, I think a lot of the big things is like, when can I fight the Mothman, and when can I fight a creature created by cannibalism? And first, Mothman is in the book, but he turned into a spooky, gross owl with like calves, which I think is very fun.
Okay.
It was a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek, like, hey, Mothman fans, here you go.
You sick fucks.
You sick fucks. Here you go, you sick fucks.
It's very funny.
What was the hardest part of the book to write creative-wise?
Jesus.
I mean, the adventure, obviously.
The adventure, by a wide margin. 350-page adventure, and we held ourselves to very, 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 almost acabic high levels of quality. And that's for us. I can't speak to the intense design work that Dan worked on that, you know...
that's a massive asterisk, right?
There's a massive asterisk as far as what we were involved in. But there's a lot of stuff where, you know, Dan did a tremendous amount of heavy lifting and a tremendous amount of design work. Well, we were all in tandem rowing, and so the entire appendix, effectively, nearly the entire appendix, and all of that, you know, was. But I think that for me, the adventure, I think just learning that we went into the Crooked Moon in 2022. And 2023, thinking we're going to take the Evantris magic and let you have the Evantris magic. And then afterwards, we had to have the painful lesson that we can't.
You cannot publish that.
It's not how that works.
You can't publish it.
Yeah.
You can't.
You can't.
And so what we can do is take the Evantris magic and approach it to writing a book that's for everybody. We're not selling the Evantris magic. We're sending you a deeply thematic, high quality, robust, well-designed product.
it was a realization as we've gone through all of the growing pains of any scaling business, but certainly one that is creative and offers entertainment and media, is that what our business offers and sells. Sure, there's words on paper. Sure, it's a D&D module. Sure, we have streams, but really what we're offering are themed experiences.
Yep.
And that applies to every single thing we do. Every single thing we put out, we are giving you a themed experience. Even our funny shit is themed, right? And so we're always thinking about how do we accomplish the theme that we are providing to our customers and our viewers. And that through line was a massive driving force in the extensive reworkings that we did in the fall and winter of last year.
DGroot05 says, for those of us who haven't been able to keep up with the Crooked Moon stuff, where can we get more info and context on this content and the stories? That's kind of an unfortunate thing. We don't really have like a
landing page.
We don't really have a landing page.
A splash page.
We don't have a splash page. What I would do
We're
is
working
maybe
on
join
it.
our Discord, the Crooked Moon Discord. I don't know if we
No,
have.
I think going to the Kickstarter page
the Kickstarter page
mean,
is
that tells
still
you-
the best way.
that tells
It's
you
still the
everything.
best way.
Google,
but it
it's
doesn't
hard to
give you
get
a
to.
full. Yeah.
It's hard to get to. Google Kickstarter Crooked Moon.
Or even just Adventures Kickstarter. I've
Or
done that
Adventures
100
Kickstarter.
times. That's how I find it. Adventures Kickstarter is the first thing that comes up.
That's right.
Or the Crooked Moon, not the crookedmoon.com. Sorry, that goes to the backer kit page now.
That will give you what we were thinking back in, October of 2023. Obviously, things have changed. And the book has turned into a 632-page behemoth. But I think it's still... I think we delivered what we promised. And the writing still
then
ladders up
some.
to all of it perfectly.
And then some.
I totally agree.
We
beyond
We
then
didn't
some.
have to fucking do Moonfall.
Yeah.
We didn't have to do that shit.
Did we answer this?
Yeah.
The hardest part creatively?
Yeah. The adventure. And not learning how to package
What was your favorite and least favorite part of the creation process for the Crooked Moon?
I haven't
From
shouted
Sakura
this
to
out.
Naruto.
One of my favorite parts was working on the music. The music is still underway. We are sprinting ahead.
By the Wonderful Blasting Company.
Wonderful Blasting Company. We are absolutely going to have our two gameplay albums ready on time. Hopefully. So that's the combat and the atmospheric. Working with guest singers is
Very challenging.
sometimes they just string you on for 6 months and disappear.
That's right.
So anyway.
No, no one would ever do that to you, Michael.
So it can be. It's a little tough. So we'll see. We'll see when we can get that done. But we'll definitely have the gameplay versions of all the songs done on time. The working on the music is one of my favorite things. The Blasting Company, Josh and Justin, are absolute fucking geniuses. Generational talent. And because we've been talking about a lot about the writing of it, the creation of it. Least favorite part, I think, was just kind of having to break myself mind, body, and spirit for 6 months and gain 75 pounds and
Obviously,
stress my heart physically.
I want to pick something specific.
Oh.
For me, one of the worst parts was having to be so constrained by page space. And the constant stress.
Yeah.
That's a good pick.
That's a
and
really
the
good pick.
constant friction. And this actually, I remember something that's on the cutting room floor that maybe one day will see the light of day.
Oh, wow.
One day won't, is that the heirlooms were much beefier in terms of word count.
yeah.
And we learned that if we had published what we had designed, would have taken over 50 pages.
And you can't do that.
Just for
You can't do that.
the items. And not all the items, just the fabled heirlooms.
Yeah.
And
That
so,
was painful.
Yes.
That was painful.
One of the things that
Hopefully we'll see the light of day at some point.
yes, and a lot of that was just for Mike and me and our own ignorance of just D&D, even though we've been playing this for a long time. Magic items are apparently this big part of D&D that folks interface with. And as a channel, as a group of friends, as D&D players, we don't really use them.
Very small percentage.
We don't really use magic items.
And it was the old days.
And so when we branded Artifacts of Anathema
We had no idea that capital A artifact
Yes.
meant something.
We didn't know it was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in the design process, before Mike and I really got super involved,
Yeah.
it kind of just got away from us that the idea of artifact and the fact that if you Google anathema, it means curse. The brief became make a capital A artifact that has a capital C DMG curse.
Yep.
And which was never the intention.
That was never the
That
intention.
was never the original design intention of what we promised. We wanted to offer Curse of Strahd style leveling
Items.
badass items.
Yeah.
And so we had to take the curse element and the artifact element and basically cut them to save 25 plus pages.
But
And I will say the friction, just in general, the
A
whole
page count.
process of
I mean,
constantly
oh,
being
how
like,
many monsters were cut?
But every
I cut like, I think there were almost
You cut
20
a bunch.
monsters.
Yeah, and just
Almost
extra
20
stat
monsters
blocks
got
that we were
cut.
going to have
Extra stat blocks.
that we
Yep.
said, hey, we don't really need this cut. Right?
Yeah, we had to combine a lot.
Anyway,
Every single one of the revelers was going to have its own stat block.
yeah.
I'm also realizing now that the items, Brandis Stoddard, I think the heirlooms, the potions.
Dan shouted him out.
Oh, really? Great.
Yeah,
earlier
I was just
in
going to
chat.
say,
Brandis Stoddard, amazing.
when it comes to the
Amazing.
appendix, basically, Dan had Bestiary, Brandis had the treasury, and Nikki had the curses.
Yeah.
And that was sort of
Good work, team.
that was sort of how the appendix was divvied up.
I was so focused. I'm realizing I was so focused on the adventure that I kind of was like, you know, it was almost like black box as far
Yeah,
as
well,
the,
right, because I was sort of, you didn't have
Yeah,
to worry about
you-
that.
yeah,
I'm
you
like,
were-
keep
yeah,
writing!
yeah,
Keep writing,
yeah,
please!
yeah.
We got this over here. Yeah, Brandis is an amazingly talented designer and really came up with some cool, robust stuff across all of our wonderful items.
Yeah.
And Nikki did a wonderful job with the chaotic curses.
They're great. You can see them on Wednesdays during the fucking return of Once Upon a Witchlight.
That's
We're
right.
having a great time. We're gonna there's some cute little fellows that we're gonna interface with. I hope we don't turn them into a militant rebel cell. After watching Andor, I kind of want to.
Arachnida Armageddon asks, is Path of Experiment inspired by Dr. Mundo from League of Legends? I just looked at the art and it gave me ranked LoL war flashbacks, so now I'm curious. Yes. All of us have been playing League of Legends since closed beta.
Closed beta.
And
That's how old we are.
Mundo was one of the inspiration. Obviously, there's other inspirations. Jekyll and Hyde, Warwick from League of Legends.
Yeah.
But Mundo is definitely a through line. Torbeck's a big inspiration. So the answer is yes. Cherry Valiant has a wonderful question that I could wax philosophically about. I gotta ask, did you mean
Great
for
question.
the sanatorium level of the adventure to be so fucking thick with dope-ass Silent Hill and Resident Evil vibes? Because it's all I could think of while reading it. And it's also my favorite chapter. Yes, we meant for it. And
Give it
we
up.
meant for it so much that we deleted the chapter that came before and rewrote the entire thing because it was missing.
It was missing
those vibes.
Missing that vibe exactly.
And that's another hard thing. Of you look at a perfectly good D&D adventure module chapter, and this is completely playable, and a DM could run it, and there's fun stuff in there, and to be able to look at it and sit there and think, as good and as fine as this is, it doesn't achieve the theme
doesn't
that
achieve the goal.
that we're going for.
Doesn't achieve the goal.
So it's beyond those references. We just wanted it to scream hospital horror, mad scientist experimentation. It's our cosmic horror. It sort of organically became this
Yeah.
cosmic horror thing too,
Yeah, yeah.
which ended up working so well. And a very weird. When I was doing the reformulation of the plot and kind of the rework of the chapter, I stumbled upon this little video of just this little tiny moment in Bloodborne that was so fucking inspirational for me. And I haven't played Bloodborne, but if you know Somebody's Clinic, I forget the name, but it's like Somebody's
Yeah.
Clinic. That 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes, it just struck something in me that totally and fundamentally changed Lethica, who she was, what her backstory was, because all of a sudden it helped me come up with an idea that made all the tumblers sort of fall into place.
Yeah, I didn't do as much heavy lifting in that chapter. I was responsible for the character work.
Yes.
And the overall weaving of the meta plot of the chapter.
Right.
Of the meta story and the through line of the story. But,
Thank you. Yosefka's Clinic.
Zefka's Clinic. But it was so fun to work on it. And the fun little... The writing that I was able to do in the vignettes and the room and the adventure was so fun. But, so much of what, had already been written by Derek at that point was really great. And so, like, the fun little bits of where I was able to just slot in a little bit of extra flavor, that was a ton of fun.
This isn't really cut content, but this was content that we were going to do, but just because of page space and it's already the biggest adventure chapter, we couldn't do. You want to talk about the original idea for, if you want to do this, for your ultimate confrontation with Godly.
Godly.
I'm talking about that?
Yes,
I know.
even wrote it.
I know, you wrote it.
Yeah.
So it is cut, I guess. Yeah, you wrote it.
Fuck!
You did the work.
Spoilers for Memories Rest Sanatorium. Spoilers for Memories Rest, Crooked Moon. So one of the things that I did in the chapter was beefing up the final encounter with Belkin and making that feel like a little mini boss fight and kind of have this thematic weight. And then I did the same thing for Godly, and I can't remember where we ended with it. You were kind of editing with and all of that. But basically, it was kind of this thing of confronting her, and then she would basically, because she's the one that only has the eye patch and is the least mutated of all the mutant nurses, the thematic catharsis with her is that you would discover her in the crematorium. And frankly, I can't remember what's in there, what's not now.
She's still in there, but we don't prescribe like the whole boss fight scene.
Got it. And so then she is burning remnants of Sir Marius in order to try to say, hey, you gotta get over this dude, get over this man.
Right.
And then she's like, you can't rat me out to
I'll be ruined.
I'll be ruined. God, she's the best. And so then she would basically pull an end of Bioshock, and she would basically take a ton of serum and Hulk out into this grotesque mutant, and you'd have this boss fight with her where she goes from being the least mutated to the most grotesquely mutated. Using the serum brute stat block without the eye stuff.
Yeah.
Damn.
And so that was very fun.
Yeah.
So if you want to use that, maybe I said that earlier on stream.
Yeah, it's been said, but it's worth mentioning. Drekken has a great question. What's your favorite non-boss monster?
If we want to talk about the monster that has made us the most purchases,
That's what I was gonna say.
is the Hypnovolphin. I feel like that is such a classic. It's such a poster child of the book, and I think that Holly's art of it helped capture people's imaginations.
Can I gush about Dan Dillon for a little bit?
I mean, please do.
There were just moments where we would have these meetings, and it was sort of like an intake meeting, where Dan asked us questions, and he's like, hey, what's this monster about? What's the theme we're trying to hit? What's the typing that we're thinking of? And we would just sort of give just these ideas, right? And then Dan would come back with the coolest fucking monsters.
Yeah.
And again, I don't DM, but I've read a lot of third-party D&D stuff over the last 2 years. And a lot of it just feels third-party. And I think everything in the Crooked Moon feels so polished and clean.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not bloated. And it is just so fucking good that it blows my mind. And consistently, over and over and over again, I would look at the stat block and be like, holy shit. It just checks every fucking box.
Yep.
That's what you
And
get when you get the
elegantly,
best, man.
without being a bloated mess.
To answer the question, I think both Reveler stat blocks
are
so excellent.
Yeah.
If I had to pick one, I'm gonna go with Reveler of Stories.
Yeah, I'm looking at that right now.
Where There was a moment where, and why, I mean, just really our design philosophy has gotten so collaborative. Where originally it was gonna be hags, beasts, and heroes.
Yeah.
And then Dan kind of reworked it because it's like, well, hags is a specific creature type, and beasts are just creature types.
Yeah.
And so it became the
Witch.
hero, the witch, and the great
beast, the folklore archetype.
That kind of had this thing that really honed in on just these stories and these legends and these tales of these tropes that have real life stories and legends as long as humanity's existed. To me feels so creepy and primal, and like I can imagine that there are these weird, like off-putting, and that's the large stat block too. These are big fucking creatures. That sort of have this through line of this primal storytelling flavor. It's just so good.
My question is, are any of those the one with the bear reveler?
That's
because he's my favorite.
it's
He's
the-
my favorite
It's,
reveler.
it's the bear, it's the mounted one, and it's the Baba Haga.
Yeah, Baba Haga.
Classic. The bear reveler's my favorite.
A lot of them are my favorite. I have to call out the Invader Out of Space.
Oh!
The Invader Out of Space, which is our little nod to the cryptid. It's got the head like this. It's got a head like
Right,
this.
and then it goes
It's
like
got
this.
a head, and then its body goes
And then
down
what is
there,
that one
and
on
then
the
the
bottom?
base is like
It flares out?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's got a head like this.
Right, it's got a head like
body,
this.
It goes
And it
down
goes
like
like this.
that,
Yeah.
and then it kind of flares out.
That's we're gonna be doing that for a decade from now, and people are gonna be like, they don't know what the
As
fuck
long
we're
as we
talking about.
live.
Every single ability in the stat block is really fucking fun. Two are my favorite.
know
Is
you're gonna say.
Disrupting Touch,
Yeah.
where it has a melee War of the Worlds Disintegrate Beam. And then its secret is so good. Going back to the War of the Worlds theme, is its weak constitution, where it is disadvantage on saving throws to avoid or end the poison condition, and if the invader is poisoned at the start of its turn, it takes 20 necrotic damage. Which is such a fun inversion. Because you find all these fucking demons and all these crazy ass things where like, oh, poison doesn't do shit. It can't get poisoned because it's fucking otherworldly. But this invader out of space, like in War of the Worlds, like, oh, a little poison, shoot, I'm dead.
Yeah, you don't know poison.
He don't know poison. He don't know fucking microbiology.
Microbes, yep.
He doesn't know microbes. That shit is so fucking Kino. The Crooked Moon, folks. Pre-order now on D&D Beyond and get all these pre-order bonuses.
It's so good.
This shit is fucking the plasma monster.
God, what else? I was just thinking of one.
That monster is just.
Did the hobby horse art make
Oh,
Yeah, the Dragon Hub. That's something that's heartbreaking.
the Draken Hob.
Yeah, Richie will never get over this.
Oh, no.
Well, no, I think where we landed was okay.
There just wasn't any room for the art.
But talking about cuts, this one hurts. This one hurts, folks.
Yeah.
If you have seen the chapter "The Crooked Nightmare," there is art of in Holly's wonderful folklore storybook style. There is art of the Draken Hob, and there are these three cute little guys. They're these little like dogs that are supposed to be kind of like hunting hounds that have these nice little like regalia like outfits.
Yeah.
And they're so cute, and it's some of my favorite art in the book. And we were originally going to have that be a separate stat block and a separate monster where that little hunting hound guy would still show up with the Draken Hob, but you could run them on their own. And unfortunately, just with how many monsters we had, we couldn't justify it existing.
And he still summons hunting hounds
three hunting hounds.
But it's not the
Which
same
have the
as-
wolf stat block,
Yeah.
but it's just not quite the same as if they had their own little crooked.
But I think
moon
it was a
folk
very
stat block.
elegant solution.
100%.
And you should still use the little tokens.
Those are the compromises you have to make sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Folks. You know what I mean?
That's life.
Oh, I also got to give it up for the deep track.
Oh, the deep trek.
Because it is a stinky boy.
Oh yeah, it's
Basically, stinky mole man that explodes into gas. I mean, it's what else do you want? It burrows.
Does what it says on the tin.
It explodes into farts when it dies. And it has putrid emission as a range attack. I mean, it's so good. It's exactly what I wanted. It's exactly what I wanted. I mean, the entire beat. I mean, it's 85 monsters, and every single monster,
Just a banger.
every single monster is unbelievable. Is great.
Yeah.
Every single one. There's no afterthought. There's no filler monster. It's all killer, no filler, folks.
When you got to make so many cuts, you know,
Yeah.
you keep the best.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the Wormhost Surgeon?
Oh,
And
let's
how
talk about
the
word homes.
painful road
Bro.
to get
He was a
there.
bitch.
Where
He looks
in
so
the,
good,
in
though.
the chapter originally there were these like eel people with loincloths or something.
Yeah.
Or we got art done and it was an eel guy in a loincloth and we're like, this isn't
No.
this isn't working.
Oh.
And I'm like, well, this is a hospital horror chapter.
Well, yeah.
Why is one of the main stat blocks an eel dude in a loincloth? And
What is
I
he
mean, I can
covering
tell
up?
you-
Oh, I
tell
can
you
I can
Is
tell
that
you
an
why.
eel dick?
I can tell you why.
And so anyway, that was one of the things when we deleted the chapters. Like this just doesn't. It's not hitting the theme. And it's like we had this nurse. We needed a fucking worm doctor. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I kept saying we need to rewrite this, and we need this fucking worm doctor. And finally, everyone caved, and we rewrote the chapter, and the Wormhost Surgeon came to be. And I think that the stat block does such a good job feeling hospital horror as fuck, but so different from the mutant nurse.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
In a
This is
way
great.
that I just can't get over.
And they're gross. They're gross. This guy's got worms in his brains. I don't know if
He
you knew
does.
this about him.
He's got worms in his brains.
fucking brains.
That was fun. That was a fun thing. Witchy B. Sorry, this is a dumb question. It's not.
It's not.
But will it be available or compatible to Roll20? Yes.
What's one of the options?
You can pre-order our Roll20
What's one of the
on, our,
BTG options?
on our Backer store.
The 2014
It's the same price.
is coming out soon.
Yep.
As soon as Roll20 gets integrated to 2024, we will prioritize that.
Yes.
But it is not available. 2024 is not available at all
Correct.
on Roll20.
They just internally, they're working on Demiplane. They have a lot going on right now. They did a
They
big
do have a lot
acquisition.
going on right now.
And so I don't know if they've announced a timeline, but we just can't work on it right now.
It's a little quiet, Rich.
Oh,
Lauren MS, I want to ask the chat this question from Lauren.
Yeah.
Is the Crooked
know
Moon
what that is.
suitable for beginner GMs?
Yes.
let's do this one.
I would defer to the folks who are new GMs who are trying to run it. I would say
We've gotten a bazillion
a
comments of people saying that they've
tremendous
had no
amount
problems.
of blood, sweat, and tears was poured into this book in order to make it engaging for longtime GMs and runnable and accessible for new GMs.
One of the first comments I saw tonight was somebody just saying that like the first thing they ever ran was the Ghostlight Express, and they said they literally had everything that they needed, and it was a breeze. It was the only thing they ever run.
I'm very glad to hear that, and I hope that continues to be the case, because I cannot tell you how painstaking it was. And it was all to the thing of where, like, and that was a lot of the rewrites. A lot of the rewrites were kind of like...
And a
if
lot of the
you
editing
are-
process,
And a lot of
too.
the editing process.
Yeah.
Like, everything we looked at is like, if you are not a long time, years, decades long GM, how are you going to run this? How are you going to articulate this?
What I will say is that for us to have done everything we wanted to for new GMs, the adventure would have been 800 pages long. And
Yeah.
so my hope,
Yeah.
there's already a Crooked Moon subreddit that I don't think we created.
Oh.
Yeah, that somebody created.
Great.
And I hope that the Crooked Moon subreddit develops a similar Strahd level, like here's all of these homebrews that these hundreds of tables are using to flesh out the story, because you just can't, like when you're constrained by page space, there's only so much you can do.
It's like Curse of Strahd.
Yeah.
It's an amazing book. It's an amazing fucking adventure. In my opinion, it's the best 5e first party adventure. But there's a very robust subreddit and community that has fleshed out things where there just wasn't space for, there wasn't the decision to, but the community came together and basically provided a shit ton of resources for GMs to add into their game and flesh it out. I want to see that for the Crooked Moon so bad.
It's inevitable. It's just gonna take time.
I want to see it.
It's just gonna take time, though. You know what I mean? Like that's like a decade in the making.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it'll take years, and that's fine.
Croc holding. Smash or pass, Crooked Moon Species Edition.
Ashborn Smash.
Here's what I want to say. I know absolutely nothing about Markiplier.
Yeah.
But somebody sent me the video of him doing Smash or Pass to every Pokemon.
Oh, wow.
And in the first 150, I was in tears.
Yeah.
And so ever since that, I wanted to do a version of that. And I think the best thing to do would be basically take every single art piece from the Crooked Moon and just basically do that. And make like an hour and 20-minute video.
Yeah.
I think it could be
can't
really
reveal my
funny.
power level. Ashborn Smash. The Ashborn, like, that was
Relicborn Smash.
But I would not just leave it as species. You got to do all the monsters.
So
you got to
when
do all
I
the
read
bosses.
this, I was thinking monsters.
I was too.
As I read it, I then learned, oh no, species.
I was too. But I would
thinking
do
monsters.
every piece of art in the book and smash or pass on everything.
I'm down to clown.
Always chosen.
Always
Big Smash.
harvest clear.
Oh, that's so easy.
Well, that's obvious.
Are you kidding?
That's obvious.
You can kind of tell when I was like art directing some of the characters,
And then
and
you
I'm
stopped.
like, oh shit, do I have a problem?
Yes.
Magical
So I think
The answer is yes,
some of the
you do.
remnants
It's not a
of my art
problem.
direction is lingering in some of the character design. See if you can find it.
This is such a nice comment from Bulba. I want to give Nikki a shout out for being so helpful with support. Whenever I direct folks to email, I always hear how quick, patient, and helpful she is with everything.
Thank you.
We have the best customer
Wonderfully
support.
kind.
We have the best customer
And
support. in the
Bulba,
world.
you fucking kill it.
Yeah.
Doing your own, helping folks. in
Thank
the
you.
Discord.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Community icon.
Yeah, seriously.
community icon.
Paragon.
I've received
you,
many
Bulba.
an email that says Bulba sent me here. So thank you. Thank you, Bulba.
We'll keep repeating this, Holy Heathen. Will the character options work for both 2014 and 2024 class builds and D&D Beyond? Yes, they
Yes.
will. It is written for 2024. It's
You
in
know-
the 2024 style.
I'm glad we keep saying that because I went to the D&D Beyond Instagram post that they made because I was just checking all the social media posts.
Yeah,
they made.
sure.
I think I know
And
a comment you're
almost
talking
one of
about.
the first comments I saw had incorrect information about that, and I was like,
Oh.
"Fuck." It was just a person. It was a random person.
There was
just
someone
guessing.
who was commenting, and they were upset that they had bought a third-party product, and it only worked for one of the versions. And so it was
the comment that I saw was somebody incorrectly surmising that this was only for 2014.
Oh.
But again, it was like in the first 30 seconds of the post being up.
Oh, yeah.
It's, they just need to know, right?
Oh,
and they're trying to be helpful, but
yeah.
it's not. It's not just for 2014. It's for both versions. And I almost just commented, being like, "Hey, I'm Andy." No, it's for
Yeah,
both.
yeah,
and I
yeah,
didn't want to
but
do
you-
that. I didn't want
why
to be
not?
like a
Andy from
weirdo.
Evangelist.
Andy from Evangelist here on my personal Instagram account.
Yeah,
That's
allow
right.
me to help you out.
So it's for both versions. It's for both versions. It's for both versions. We're gonna keep saying it.
Cobalt Blue Waters is a wonderful question, and I have a very obvious answer in my head. I'm curious to see how other folks are going to answer. Throughout the playtests, and with people playing their own Crooked Moon games, were there any mechanics or elements that players interacted with differently than you expect?
I would love to summon if Dan Dillon is still in the chat. I would love
sure he is.
I would love to have him answer this as well.
I would
if
love
he's
to
comfortable.
get Dan's take.
I feel like Dan's take is probably going to be the best here.
Hi, hello.
I don't know if you heard this. I'm going to just read it again for us,
Yeah.
but also for Dan. Throughout the playtests and with people playing their own Crooked Moon games, were there any mechanics or elements that players interacted with differently than you expected? So I will answer that. I would love to get your take as well, Dan, since you are here in the chat.
What I would answer here is that obviously my pet subclass in this book is the Sinner Rogue.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think because of the dice that he's holding and the cards in his hat and the gambling element of it, people really they're like, well, why isn't it just the gambler? Why isn't this the gambling rogue? It should be all about gambling. And I fundamentally disagreed with those takes. And again, that's totally fine if that's what you wanted it to be, right? But when we set out to make, and I think for all of our subclasses, I wanted this subclass to not be the gambling rogue. There's an element of fate, and there's an element of luck, and there's an element of destiny. But what I wanted this rogue to be was this rogue. Basically, you are a scoundrel. You are a rough and tumble customer. You made some deal down at the crossroads. Some shady man in black at the back of a bar or a saloon. You went out into the desert and you heard a rattlesnake.
You met the spirit of the West.
You met the spirit of the West.
Oh, baby.
And you gained this jinxcraft that some would consider sinful. You don't give a shit about the paragons of religion, deities, and piousness. You have no issue being unscrupulous. And to the point where I literally had to go in and rewrite the Sinner flavor text intro, which I think much of it survived. It went through some pretty heavy editing. But if you read the intro to the Sinner, I'm like, hopefully this gives the context that people need, so it's not like, why isn't this the gambler rogue? Why does he have a gun?
Can I layer onto that?
Please.
My favorite was it's literally with that.
Yeah.
When I was still like heavily involved with the playtesting, especially the first round, I wrote this really nice like first page of like how to play test on the PDF when we sent it out. And I did that for the other one too, but I wasn't as involved in the playtesting at that point. But for the first one, there's like a huge section on like how to playtest. You know, it's just a nice page that really lays out like how to do playtesting. And one of the big things is like in the surveys, in the document, all over the place, in the post we made, in the Discord bot that we made, all of it says if we're looking for mechanical feedback. Like, we're not looking for spelling mistakes, we're not looking for aesthetic feedback. We want you to play, use the subclasses, and like let us know mechanically under these categories like what you think. And so many of the responses we got are like, are you willing to change the name of the subclass? And we're like, no, that is not what we're asking for feedback on. Thank you. We appreciate your feedback. We hear you. No, we're not changing the names of any of these subclasses.
That leads me into mine. Because it surprises me how many people need permission to do anything. With the chaotic curses.
That was
The
eliminated.
amount of people that are like, well, if I didn't get the tarot cards, I can't use all these. Yes, you can.
Sure.
They're there. You don't need my permission to use something
156
else.
isn't divisible by a D100.
Use a die of unusual size. You have to buy a die of
And it's
unusual
like-
size.
And it's
should
like,
sell
you know,
156
you can do
Let's do
whatever you want.
We should sell that.
That's basically a sphere, Mike. It'll
And
never stop
so-
rolling.
I think we can
It just kind of blew my mind where it was like, well, there's no D20 option, but there could be. Pick your top favorite 20 and make your
Roll
own
a D20
table.
and there's the first 20.
Yeah.
Just use the first 20.
And that to me was the thing that was most surprising, where I was like, oh, people feel like they need permission. And so, yeah, I don't know.
In
Just-
some ways we added permission, and in some ways we're like tough turtles. Like
Yeah.
you gotta do it.
I mean, that is fair. So, Robin LaFay says we're used to battling rules lawyers.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I do
Absolutely.
understand that. But, like, for something like the Chaotic Curses, you know, yeah, I don't know. It's as the GM, sometimes you just gotta be like, I don't have tarot cards, all right? So this is how we're doing it.
Well, and at the end of the day, too, I think just as a general broad stroke for any kind of tabletop table, right? Anybody playing, like, it doesn't matter what's in the book. Like, at the end of the day, no matter what game you're playing, people are going to do what they want at their own table. And, like, we can't police that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you're going to do whatever the fuck you want. Like, it doesn't matter what's in the book. You can either follow it or you don't follow it. They're all guidelines.
Another example is I think people have very different beliefs and ideas of what a witch is.
Oh,
which subclass
that's a
should be.
really
Oh,
good. That's a really good one.
Because there are a lot of differing opinions on what hits the flavor of a witch.
Yeah.
And in our very initial playtest material on the Kickstarter page, and then unfortunately a lot of that got pulled through to the first round of playtests, it was sort of like the potion witch, the alchemist witch, the alchemist warlock,
Yeah.
and the potion warlock. And that for me, for my other pet subclass, I'm like, I cannot stand. And like, this is a fine subclass. This is perfectly fine. But I do not want to publish a Horn King patron warlock. That is the potion warlock. And so Mike, Dan, and I had like a 2-hour meeting about like, what does it mean to be a witch? What does it mean to be a witch in D&D and the Crooked Moon? And how do we make this feel like a witch? And Dan fucking killed it. Knocked it out of the
Speaking
park.
of Dan answered the question, and I think that we all learned this as being newbies. But Dan says, I've learned that it's crucial to explicitly give people permission to make the written material their own. Big learning. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Veterans almost always come to that conclusion, but keeping that in mind that you get readers of all experience levels, it's important to hit that home. Totally agree.
That
and
was
that is
definitely the weirdest part for me.
It's a huge learning for us. I think we achieved that in Crooked Moon. I think as we go forward with other products, it's going to be a North Star.
You'll have a lot of permission from us, all right?
You'll be given a lot of permission. Oh yeah, adding the permission, there were so many instances in the adventure where like I didn't want to take this time and the text and the page space, but I'm like, oh, I gotta get permission. This happens, this happens, this happens. Okay, you have my permission to improvise. Basically, like you have you have permission to change things depending on X, Y, and Z, and I think that the book is much better because of that. One thing that to answer the question, in an adventure way, I think I hadn't. This is totally a valid way to play it, but I think I hadn't really. I had thought that there'd be people who would be like, yeah, I'm like not sure about Philip and Adela. I'm sure about Philip and Adela. I'm not sure how I feel, but I don't think I ever would have thought, oh, this guy's a rich asshole. He should fucking die. And so like,
I mean, like right out of the gate.
Out of the gate. And so I don't think I fully. That was kind of something that I hadn't expected. And I feel like we try to write complex characters, especially the main characters of the book, where I feel like there's a lot for parties to latch onto and find to at least work with Philip and Adela. And that's why I went back kind of initially, and I went back and did tweaking, a little bit of inside baseball, spoilers for the campaign, of going in and really making sure that the rituals and the beliefs of the old ways and of Wickermore Village are very backwards and fucked up, in certain ways. And having Philip be, I'm the man of progress. What are you doing? You shouldn't be doing this. And like, if there's people who are like, oh, if the party's, oh, we don't agree with this, Philip will be like, oh yeah, I also don't agree with this, to help. So that's why you start right out of the gate. You have this barbaric,
get your goat
barbaric
section.
Animal sacrifice, where most parties will be like, that's a problem, and Philip will be like, also, oh, I agree with you, and then hopefully bring them together. So realizing that people aren't going to latch on to the same things, that was something that was surprising to me.
This is a wonderful question from Coding Zerp, and I've actually told the story. Maybe it was a patron stream, but I've definitely ended up in the interim answered this.
No.
Should I not say?
No. You can say it.
Wait.
What?
Are you saying I should not answer this?
You just allude to it.
Do you know what this is?
No, I don't.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Coding
nervous.
Zerp says,
I'm nervous about it.
Richie, this is your requested reminder to explain hashtag frog movements today. You asked chat to remind you back in November during a Phasmophobia stream, what is frog movements?
Frog movements.
I told this story.
Yeah.
There was there's nothing that special about it. It's just I didn't want to say it at the time. There's a moment in the chapter where originally in the
We've
writing,
said this on stream.
Yeah, in the writing with Shuck with old Shuck, the writing said Shuck uses his dog movements to do X, Y, and Z, and we were delirious.
I was out. It was like 4:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay, and I had spent hours reading the chapter and doing my edits, and it would always end with me coming out to this spot, Rich turning around, and we would just go through things like issue by issue. And I get to this one, and I'm like, okay, Rich, it might just be the time, but it says dog movements. And he looks at me and goes, I'm sorry, what?
Which is just a bizarre phrase.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it just seems a little bizarre. And he was like, huh? And so I showed him, and then we just kind of looked at each other, and I think we just cackled for 15
we were just
minutes.
dying. It's just like hashtag dog movements.
It was just, the
forgot
dog
about that.
movements. It's so good.
So anyway, someone said
So
frog
funny.
movements like organically in the stream, and I made a
Oh,
point
because
to call
Derek
it
and
out.
I were crouched down, like hopping
Oh,
around
that's right.
Andy,
They were doing
and
frog
we were doing
movements,
frog
and I
movements.
just died. I'm like, oh, I have to tell this.
Oh,
That's definitely
okay.
what I had forgotten about that.
Oh, man.
The
Good
crouching,
time.
the crouching animation in Phasmo.
Yeah,
looks
because
weird.
Derek and I were just going absolutely bonkers on you.
I want to read a few of Dan's comments because they're
Oh.
interesting.
You were trying to be serious.
Dan says, I think the bathroom trap should still be sweat,
Oh!
but that's just me.
I was a coward, Dan.
Yeah, no, I
was
wanted
a
to keep
coward.
the sweat too, and Mike's like, it's too gross. I think I somewhat agree with you.
That's where I draw the line, man.
That was a
But
wrong
I kind of
choice.
wish we had stuck to our guns on the sweat stuff.
Well, there you have permission to change it.
I think I bet if we put up a poll, would someone rather their character drown in blood or sweat? I think most people would say blood.
I would.
And then talking about
I don't know. That's a rough fucking.
I was a
choice,
coward
man.
though.
Dan is responding to this comment up here. Basically about witches and sort of there's lots of
It means
things
a
that
lot of
influence
things to
witches.
different-
Dan Dillon says makes perfect sense and it's definitely a huge thing. That's why I had to drill down into what style / flavor / vibe of witch Richie wanted for the Horn King patron, because witch can mean so many different things, right? And at the end of the day, what I wanted to reference was, when I think of witch, I think of the witch from The Witch, right? Or I think of witch folklore, which was really Christianity's response to their fear of pagan rituals still being practiced in what they considered the modern day.
Strongly recommend watching Novum, YouTube channel Novum's Guide to the Witch. It's long as fuck.
Yes.
But it is absolutely worth it. And it does an amazing job. It is an amazing job breaking down society's relationship with the witch over millennia.
Yep.
Literally 1,000, 2,000 years. And over 2,000 years.
Yep.
Of the society of the witch and society and all of that. It's beautiful. I wish that had come out before the book was almost done being rewritten.
Yep.
And what I'll say is that if there ever is more witch stuff that we write, if there is ever a volume 2, I feel like I will be leaning on a lot of that learning.
And just like for the Sinner, I didn't want it to be gambling because I wanted you to be able to be a pirate and you go into a jungle temple and you're looting and you steal a relic and it gives you this Jinxcraft power, or you're a cowboy going down to the crossroads. For the witch, I wanted you to have the option of your patron could be literally the Horn King from the book. It could be Kernunos, the antlered god of the wilds, the horn god of the wilds. It could be literal fucking Satan.
If you want
It could be literal fucking Baphomet, Beelzebub, Satan, whatever you want to call it, right? Like, I wanted all of those options to exist, and the core pull-through of all of those things to me are these pagan rituals that are done in reverence of this thing that exists. And I think that the cursing and the malediction and the rituals and that sort of...
Dan nailed it.
Yeah, and Dan sort of checked every box. And so, big fan of that subclass.
That's the reason it's my favorite.
Do y'all this is from Robin LaFay. Do y'all consider the main Crooked Moon book campaign to be separate from the 13 Province Witches? Are the provided story hooks for different zones meant to be played out together or in your minds? Yes, the adventure, the campaign is totally separate from the witches and the provinces.
The witches are there for you to build your own adventures in the provinces. You can do whatever you'd like. They can be working together. They can be antagonistic. It's written to really be a toy box for you to assemble whatever campaign you want. I think there's a lot of ammo and inspiration there for and I will say that the provinces and those stories and sections were definitely, that's more of a bit of an advanced.
Very funny.
Oh my god.
What?
Lycander Grey asks,
Oh no.
if you were to add Jinteki from Shredanya into a Crooked Moon adventure, where would you put him? I plan on using my Derek voice. I have the perfect place to put him.
Okay.
You put him at the dead lurder of the Crimson Monastery. He's a bunch of bats that have made roost. And so he has his chain wounds and his bat wounds, his bat guano wounds. I think it's perfect.
For those that don't know, Jinteki was Kana's master from Curse of Shredanya. And in the podcast, for Kana's intro, Derek does a wonderful job, I think, playing Master Jinteki.
Should have been Mike.
You may be wondering who speaks to you now.
No, I'm glad Derek could offer that little...
I know, but Mike was Jinteki. Jinteki wouldn't be here without Mike's incredible performance live on stream.
Cherry asks, I'm planning on running the Crooked Moon like a musical, where each boss having a chance in character to sing their songs. If you were to go run the adventure with this in mind, what are some ideas about how to incorporate this?
I don't know.
You would have to rewrite some stuff. God, you'd have to really rewrite some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, some of the songs are diegetically in the book.
I would say, yeah. So yeah, some of the songs are straight up diegetic.
The Echoes is diegetic,
Yeah.
and I threw that in there because it worked.
Screamy Vermin.
Screamy Vermin, a part of Light of My Life.
Light of My Life. But so for instance, for Farron's song, it would have to be in a hallucination.
That'd be hallucination.
Where you are hallucinating as Farron was, and you're seeing Gwenna, and you're seeing her
that's a
form.
hallucination of the Heartsplay.
For
Coal-Eyed Birds, I think that would be a vision in the fields of the Crow.
Yes.
It'd be a vision of history, an echo.
For the Grinning Sinner, I think you would have to have him sing
When you meet him in the hut, in the shack.
in the hut, and he needs to be the one that takes you to the dead man's hand.
Yeah.
It's
not too hard, honestly.
You can have Philip and Adela do a duet in the train car. It's super easy.
Born King is very easy. You just do it in the barrow.
And you do it in the barrow.
You do it in the barrow.
And most of you haven't heard these songs, so you don't know what we're saying, right? But I'm excited to get it
I
out
would
there.
say, if you want to do Under Your Shadow, it should be, your party should witness a service in the cathedral.
Yes.
In the
And put an organ in there because we
ran out of time.
We ran out of time to get an organ.
Yeah, that was.
And that was one of the chapters where we decided we're not going to do heavy rewrites, and then we sort of started to lower the bar, or raise the bar, I guess. And just by the time we got to it, it's like
that's a big miss.
That chapter was good enough.
Yeah.
Where we didn't do our heavy-handed hatcheting to that chapter, so no organ. Is there an artificer subclass in the Crooked Moon? No. We are not legally able to.
Not allowed. Not allowed.
Oh! B. Travis has a really fun question. Richie, if you were to portray Mr. Crossroads against a party, would you use the Briggsy voice or the Mr. Guru voice? How would you guys portray your fallen characters as campaign villains? So I would use a southern accent, a sort of Guru-style accent, but in my head, I would still use it as Briggsy putting on a voice. A big inspiration of Briggsy was King K. Rool from the Donkey Kong Country games. And he has a different persona in every game. So he's like a king in the first one, he's a full-blown pirate in the second, he's a mad scientist in the third. So I think in Briggsy's mind, his original persona was a pirate, and his new persona is this like Crossroads devil. And so it would be Briggsy kind of doing his own take on kind of a southern accent.
What I'll say is when I was writing his dialogue, I was using the Guru voice.
That's the correct answer.
I was writing to Guru's
Our recommendation is to use the Guru voice.
It's not even a recommendation. If you want how I wrote it, you can do whatever you want. I was writing for the dialogue of his that I did write. I was writing it with Guru's voice in it.
How would you run Marius?
Oh, I would do very similar to what I already do for Marius, but it would probably be deeper. I'd try to make him sound a little bit older, right? A little bit more mature.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be that different, right? But there would be this air of authority almost, right? Like that would come with it, I think.
I think for me it would come off as like, now, knee-high on a grasshopper.
That's exactly how I pictured it in my
sound
mind.
like grumbling.
I'm really glad you said that because that's how I hear it in my mind when I read it.
But I think Cockney still works for that kind of character.
When I wrote Marius, when I wrote Father Renethir, I think you heard me.
Oh yeah. You were doing Escher.
Basically, like
Jasper.
a deeper, more intense Escher and a Jasper.
Yeah.
That's how I was writing him.
Nathaniel, any plan on translating the Crooked Moon into other languages?
Someday.
Never say never. Eventually.
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say eventually.
I think eventually it's likely.
We just wanted to get the book out there.
So here's what I'll say. I think it's fair to just give you a little bit of like back.
A little bit inside baseball as I've been using.
Why do you keep saying that?
Because a friend has been using it, and so I kind of
Okay.
Inside baseball?
Anyway, yes, we've looked into it. Yes, I think that I would say that we don't have plans to do it right now. We will do it someday, I think. We've just basically, the advice that we were given, it's like, get it out there, get it done. Like, translating it is the last thing you do.
Yeah,
right? You gotta get it out there, you gotta be done. Then once everybody's got it, you start looking into, okay, how many people want this in another language? What languages do we prioritize? Then you gotta find the right people. Right.
You know?
So I would say no plans, but we have researched and we're looking into it, and someday we'll probably do it.
Do we have to have the paid subscription of D&D Beyond to access the pre-order, or do we need the hero or master tier? You don't need any tier.
You don't need any of that.
You can have whatever tier you want, and all you have to do is buy the book, or pre-order the book.
Pre-order the book.
Either part or both. The bundle. You save $10 if you buy the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry.
I recommend the bundle because, and what I'll say is that I think that some folks have, like, you know, I think that people don't necessarily realize that, like, because the Crooked Moon is one product, it's one Kickstarter, and I almost think it is a disservice in conveying just how much content it is. Of where the single book of the Crooked Moon, when you look at nearly everything on D&D Beyond, is 2.5 books at least.
Yeah, I agree.
Content-wise is 2.5 books. Yep. And so
Really crammed it in there.
yeah, we really crammed it in there. And so people have the perception of, oh, it's one book. I have a perception of, you know, what that should be offering and all of that.
Yeah.
When you realize of just how much fucking content on D&D Beyond
people
that
are
is.
looking at the Kickstarter, like the Kickstarter page, and so, oh well, the PDF was $30. Then,
Right.
Yep.
And it's like, we didn't fucking know. We didn't know it was gonna be 2.5 books.
Yep.
What the fuck did we know? We hadn't done it before. Anyway.
You're also getting so much more than a PDF.
Oh no, you're getting
It's apples and oranges.
immense amount of content.
It's not a comparison.
No, it's like, it's right, and that's my point. Is that it's not a comparison.
No.
It's a false equivalency. Yeah. The Anonymous Moose Society. Is the Crooked Moon able to be broken up to be run as a one-shot or an alternate plane in a separate campaign? I think one of the coolest benefits of the adventure. You don't need to run the whole ass adventure.
No.
Because it's folklore and how we had to write every chapter, I believe every single chapter can be run as a one-shot or plugged into other campaigns.
I agree.
There's also
totally
80
agree.
billion plot hooks.
Yep.
Quest hooks.
I agree.
100%. Royalty
Good
guarantee.
question.
Any idea when you guys are going to charge for shipping? Even just a vague estimate would be good so I can make sure there's money in the right account. LOL. We don't have confirmation just yet, but you can presume it will likely be in July or August. Hopefully that helps. Probably
So like not May.
not May.
Not June.
May, not June.
Right.
I would say my hope, this is not an announcement,
No.
but my hope is August 1st, give or take 3 weeks.
But don't
Don't hold us to that.
just that there's an estimate. But you're asking for an
August,
estimate.
yes,
There's a
that's
vague estimate.
very rough estimate of the time around August 1st, whether it's earlier, whether it's later, somewhere around there. Somewhere around there. It's vague. English Muffin, what are your top 5 favorite campaigns? Presumably the ones we play. Curse of Shridanya, Stardust Rhapsody, Anthem.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I like them all.
I like them all.
When you get to 5, you might as well
When you
just
get
name
to
the
5,
rest.
you may as well name them all.
Then it just becomes what's your least
Then it is
favorite
your least
campaign?
favorite. Yeah, you're just
Yeah.
asking like what's your least favorite at that point.
I don't. And even if I name 5, I'm not gonna be in any particular order. I'm not gonna rank them.
None of my campaigns make it in the top 5.
It's not true.
That's tough. Yeah. What would you consider to be the worst boss to fight, the worst boss background, and the worst boss to learn about in your campaign?
I don't think there's a worst. I think we fucking spun gold here, folks.
Oh, in
that's
terms
what
of
you-
quality worst? I was
Oh.
thinking like
Worst to deal with.
Oh,
Yes.
miserable and depressing. Oh, the fucking hacks. The hags are vile, awful,
Yeah,
hideous, grotesque
the
people, body, mind, soul, spirit.
I think
they are miserable.
And
I love them.
this was the thing. They were inspired by me. So,
I think
if you want to fight me in the Crooked Moon,
it's 3 Nickies.
I am just
In a
all
trench coat.
3.
I would need to like reread everything, but I think just at a surface level, I think Gorthos freaks me out the most.
Gorthos is
Like I can't imagine staring that down.
Gorthos, and especially with the recharacterization.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Gorthos is. I really want people to be playing Hearthblade Forests. I am wondering how people do it. It's meant to fuck you up
Yeah.
emotionally.
Like I can't imagine being a heroic adventurer with a sword and then having to step in. Like you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. It freaks me out. That idea freaks me out.
if you have
It scares the
tryptophobia,
shit out of me.
if your friends have tryptophobia, give them a content warning.
I think Gorthos, you could see as very tragic. It's a story of love and loss.
It's tragedy.
And I think for me,
I mean, there's a ton of tragedy. I mean, honestly, nearly every chapter is a tragedy as well.
yeah. And I think it's one of the reasons why I was so adamant that we had to have Gwenna as a giant horrific abomination.
Oh yeah.
At the beginning of the campaign was like, you need something grounding in a way that like really just. And again, you don't necessarily want to sympathize with Gorthos.
Fuck you, Lone.
No, I was thinking, and Claude calling about the 3 Charmin bears. What shitty that was.
No.
That we need to add that to the next Crooked Moon Volume 2.
You see what Lone said? All 3 hags are Nikki using her 3 voices. JK, Nikki does 5
my God.
amazing voices.
At
least it's 5 and not 4.
I want to call out a comment that I saw that just went by. I can't remember who it was.
Oh, Haas is here.
Did any content have to get cut? No. You are getting the full, right? You're getting the full content of the Crooked Moon. The full content of the Crooked Moon. If you get the bundle.
Right.
Now that Haas is here, we've been talking a lot about the various teams and the creative works and their accomplishments. I got to give it up to Haas, our wonderful project director.
Yeah.
No, we wouldn't be here without
I'm
him.
clapping emotionally.
I think the crew of us that really worked on the Dark Times, we sort of, we're like, it's like we went through a war together.
A little bit of Band of Brothers.
Yeah, a
A little bit of trauma bonding,
little bit of
folks.
trauma
a little trauma
bonding.
bond.
But
As
in
a
terms
treat.
of creative additions, you will notice that the Grinning Sinner has 1 skeletal hand on his left hand and 1 regular hand on his right. And the amount of times that was missed and had to be adjusted after the fact was literally more than a handful.
I think it was like 5 at least.
It was over 5.
I feel like it was just
And
like 2 days
Haas
ago that you got
caught it and fixed it every
something
time.
else.
Yeah,
So,
I think
every
every
time
time we got him done, it's like, oh, well, he's missing his skelly hand. Gotta go back and fix it.
Fix it.
Gotta fix his skeleton hand again. Ding dong, skeleton hand. Ding dong, wash them saucy
Give me
ceilings.
the skeleton hand. So Briggsy would not have his skeleton hand in half of the pieces he's in if we didn't fix that. So thank you.
Also, Haas is very graceful at handling a Mikey crash. So thank you very much, Haas.
Haas also tries to dump creamy brule into people's purses. So
right.
be careful if you go out to dinner with him.
Yeah, creamy brule.
So.
It's classic. B. Travis, if you were each going to sing 1 song from the Crooked Moon, which one would you choose to perform?
I think Under Your Shadow. I think that's got it. That for me, it speaks to my timbre.
I think my pick would be Coal-Eyed Birds.
I think you'd be really
And
good
I'd
at
learn the
Coal-Eyed Birds.
banjo part too.
Yeah, I think we just
And I would
swap
do
our
them both.
characters.
And I would
Yeah.
just play and sing,
Yeah.
and I think that one's perfect for my range as well.
I think that's really good. That's a really good pick.
Oh.
They don't like to hear that, but
Either Born King
ooh,
or Dead
yeah.
Trees.
Yeah, nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Nikki, what's your favorite scene ever?
See, wow.
In all of media.
Ever.
In all of media.
In
Talk about
all
Any
ever.
movie,
Oh my
any book,
God.
anything.
That is such a
Any
big
play?
question. How do I even
Any
answer?
poem, any epic.
Oh my God, it was that one time that Andy.
Is Andy.
I agree. The time with the dog movements. movements.
The time with the dog movements. The dog movements
Or
are
the
my
horse
favorites.
screams.
The
Hashtag horse
screams.
screams.
Hashtag horse screams. Yeah,
That's
that was
right.
another one where, geez. A scene. So just like moment, I guess, in the Crooked Moon. No, I think the one that stands out to me visually isn't one that's like super dark or really emotional, but every time I read through it, I can picture it so clearly in my mind. And it's in the Ghostlight Express, is when you first get to the lounge car. That entire scene, the way it looks and the smoke and the music, you can almost feel it. And it's when you first meet Philip and Adela, and it's the tarot card reading and all of that stuff. And I just think that that's one of the best, like, set pieces to play with as a GM. But I don't know if I'm answering the question properly.
No, I think that's perfectly correct. How much will it cost on D&D Beyond? You can go to the page right now and pre-order it. Each of the parts, the separate parts, are $39.99. But if you buy both parts together in the bundle, the whole Crooked Moon experience, it is $69.99. You save $10. Instead of spending basically $80, you spend $70.
Yes.
Who is the Tom Holland of the
Andy.
group, i.e., who has the toughest time resisting revealing juicy tidbits?
That's me.
Oh, that's
Probably Mike.
probably Mike.
Absolutely.
definitely
Absolutely, Tom.
Mike.
Thank God I'm
He
drinking
struggles.
anymore.
He struggles.
Thank
with
God I'm
that.
fucking sober. This is a good question. I think Andy weighed all this.
And Andy has this information, presumably. Maybe not.
What's up? Feathered Felting asks, how much is the all-in box going away?
I have to look it up. I don't know off the top of my head. And I guarantee you that my estimates are probably not exact because at the time we didn't have all the inner packaging and
If
all
we
that
could,
stuff.
if you can give an estimate.
Yeah, don't give me a minute. I'll find it.
Yeah, okay. We're gonna find out.
We'll continue.
We're gonna find out. These are estimates. These are
Andy,
estimates.
can you please just do it though?
Yeah, well,
Do you think?
I'm going to. I gotta open my laptop.
Crown Crow, do you guys anticipate seeing things like the plushies in stores? Almost certainly not stores.
Not in stores, but our store.
It's
At
certainly-
conventions.
And so conventions is what I was going to say. It's
Conventions
kinda like a
and the
store.
web store is great. Things that would do terribly in retail,
Yeah.
we still get to sell directly to you on our web store or at conventions.
Except for all the things you want to see from your niche campaigns.
Exactly. Right.
Let's call it estimate like 16 pounds.
16 pounds
For everything.
Holy.
Everything.
for the all-in box.
All of it. I mean, it's not one box, right? We know it's separate boxes.
So the
But give or take,
two
50
boxes,
and 60
yeah.
pounds. Give or take.
16 pounds.
And that's a very wide range because, again, it's a rough estimate.
Folks, that's a big old boy. We definitely, what I'm gonna say is the shipping estimates on our Kickstarter page had no idea that it'd be 16 pounds. So we'll see.
That sassy girl asks, you've mentioned before that you have completely upended entire chapters because of the influence of the Blasting Company's work on the music. Are there other team/external factors that influence the course of the story or gameplay so much? How different would the story overall be had you not made those changes?
Worse. Effectively,
Other teams or external
no.
factors?
I think the external factors.
are
The external factors,
I would assume.
the way that and I think that I know what you're gonna say, is the Blasting Company's music just was the reminder that we need to live our principles, and the Crooked Moon had to rise to the occasion, to the bar of quality and narrative and theme that we wanted to hit. And there were times where we were desperately not wanting to do more work, and desperately not wanting to have to do another rewrite, and desperately, can it please be fine? And then they would submit us a song, and we're like, oh, this is what we were trying to achieve with the chapter. Does this chapter achieve that?
Nope.
No.
Fix
We
it.
have to rewrite it. So that was really kind of a very clear and stark reminder.
What I would say about this is, yeah, the external factor is more an internal factor of we had to learn as publishers and as business leaders / owners and as creatives that we could make the decision to put our foot down and be like, this isn't good enough. And I think internally, the thing that really made it happen is that we always wanted to deliver a deeply thematic experience. And What changed, I think, was our bar of quality and our bar of standard of hitting that theme so profoundly so that it checks every box that we wanted to originally.
Yep.
And in July of 2023, I've said this before, we had a book. But the blasting company gave us the courage to, you know, and it really just restating what Mike said, right? Like, we're originally, oh, you know what, this is fine. We can publish this. This is good enough. In 24, sorry. Yeah. In July of 2024, these chapters are good enough, but then working with the blasting company, an external partner, they give back a song that is hitting and evoking the same theme that we wanted to hit in the book. And the song is so heads and tails thematically above where the chapter was in terms of nailing the theme that we wanted, that it gave us the courage and the confidence to be like, the pressure,
the determination,
of
no more.
Yeah.
And then we hear it, it's like, we
to.
gotta fucking do it.
We have to.
We gotta fucking.
When we heard Dead Trees coming in.
No, there were times where I was like literally weeping in tears, like, please don't make me do it. Don't make me. And Richie's like, sorry, we gotta do it.
And I would turn my speakers on and I would play Dead Trees.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I would
Mike,
be begging for. I would be
this
begging
chapter needs
for the
to feel like
torture
this
end.
song. Yeah.
I would be begging for the torture to end, literally, unironically.
Yeah, unironically.
And it's like, it can't end.
Yeah, and I would have, unfortunately, I hate to do it, Mike.
Yeah.
But I'm like, hey, we were months
correct, and then I would listen to it and it was, you know.
Yes. And we would like listen to it and we'd be like, the chapter needs to evoke this.
That's very fine.
It was a wonderful learning experience.
Yeah.
Can you use the Crooked Moon on Pathfinder 2E rules? I mean, there's tons of content in there that's just setting and theme. And
I mean,
use it all. Absolutely.
I mean, all of the setting stuff you could use Pathfinder, right?
I never bought anything on D&D Beyond before. Do you get a physical copy or a digital copy? It is a digital platform, a digital content library that unlocks our book within use of their app/web app.
It is not a VTT. You do not get anything physical. It is a, like you said, content library and also a character creation tool.
That's correct.
Yep.
So
it's
You're
its own
able
thing.
to use,
What was the coolest part of making the Crooked Moon? Kind of answered
the music.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I think the music is part of it.
The music was the coolest. That was so unique.
It is one of the coolest. But
Can
what I
you
want
pause
to say,
chat because I want to snipe a question there. It's pertaining to the tarot cards.
just snipe it now.
Oh, a question for Nikki pertaining to the tarot cards for Crooked Moon. Are they solely for gameplay or do you use them for personal readings? If so, what vibe do you get from the readings? I don't have my personal deck yet. So, how my personal deck feels, I can't tell you that yet. But I've been using this deck for a lot of things. And basically before every Witchlight, I've been doing a 3-card reading and it has been spot on every single time. Like wildly, crazy accurate. I mean, I've been very lucky with tarot cards and that's just kind of been how it works for me. But these ones feel very good. I like the way that they feel. I like the imagery in them. I think they're spectacular. And so even as I'm not the Shillmeister, that's the Shillmichael. I'm not the Shillmichael. I'm just Nikki, and I love them. So I would recommend them to friends and family alike, even if I weren't part of Avantris. So that's how I feel about them.
Yeah, they are intended to do
They're
personal
fantastic.
readings as well. It's classic Rider-Waite imagery with a twist. And so the idea is that you should be able to, if you are familiar with tarot, you should be able to use it in your own readings.
And yes, they do have silvered edges. You can see the way it shines.
Back to the question of the coolest part of making the Crooked Moon. My answer is going to be, I think this is sort of tangentially the music, because we've had some cool guest singers too, but I think just the people that we've gotten to work with. And I think the crystallization of our company and of the team in the fall of last year really sort of as art, the project.
That's a good answer.
And the team,
as we've been assembling the A-Team or the Avengers or something.
We had like Phoenix Ashes, and the company sort of crystallized together, and we all decided we're gonna fucking do this, and we're gonna make the best fucking product imaginable.
Yeah.
And we sort of arose from the ashes like a phoenix, and that's really been the story of the last year and change. and just to be able to work with so many amazingly
That's a very good
talented
answer.
people
Yeah.
that
I
I'm
agree with you.
very proud to call colleagues
Yeah.
and co-workers and employees and members of Advanced Entertainment
And friends.
and friends. Something else.
No, I just agree.
No,
with your answer.
I
it's a good
think
answer.
another thing. I agree with the music. I agree with that. I was going to say exactly what you said. You had said it better than I would have. I think seeing the story. Actually, learning how to write adventure and learning to design for D&D. That was great. That was the coolest part.
Yep.
One of the coolest parts is that I went from knowing nothing and knowing so little to being, I feel like I'm pretty okay at this now. And that is really wonderful.
I want to start off with a question real quick. Cottage Joe says, highlighted question may have gotten lost. If you want to ask us a question, it's better to do a question submission.
Yeah, don't highlight.
Because highlighted questions just go through
Yes.
in chat.
Yep.
But I want to answer this because they ask, are there Evantress references throughout the Crooked Moon? I feel like it'd be cool for fans to see bits from our favorite campaigns being shown in this. What I will say... Why don't you go ahead?
Only Edge of Midnight.
That's not true.
That is not true.
There are plenty of references to Edge of Midnight, obviously, that inspired the campaign. But I will say the epilogue has a reference.
Yep.
You're right.
To
And
something.
it's my favorite
You're
reference. and I
right.
didn't think of it.
And
To something.
Pico.
And Pico does too.
Pico.
Sorry. So yes.
I wrote that.
Yeah.
You wrote
How
both
did
of
I
those.
forget?
You wrote both of those.
I wrote both of those.
So there is a wonderful reference in the epilogue. I don't want to spoil it.
No.
But when
I think Dan probably snuck in some cheeky shit too.
when I read that, it is for the epilogue for Foxwillow.
I forgot about that.
And I read it and I got full body chills. And it references one of our campaigns very directly. And it is wonderful.
And
But
it's specifically wasn't in. There was something. Well, I don't want to say anything. There was the thing that I'm thinking of was intentionally left out of the PDF.
Oh no.
that's another thing.
That's what I was thinking.
That's another thing.
That's correct, though, right? That is a correct statement.
That
Yeah.
is another reference, yes.
Yeah.
That was left-
I was thinking of that
that
too.
will-
I
it
just
will
didn't
be-
want to draw attention.
It will be in the print.
Yes, it will.
It will be in the printed book.
Which is a good point. Yes, it will.
Because we mentioned that. This is not the first time we've mentioned this before.
Yes, we have.
But that was what I was thinking. I was not thinking of what you're talking about.
And then so basically in Pico, there's a reference to one campaign. Shredanya, obviously.
Yeah.
It's
Shredania's Castlemania.
there's a reference
Right.
to another campaign in Foxwillow. and
That
there's a
one I
reference
don't
to
know of.
Another campaign that will be in not even the appendix, in the end matter of the book. That's fair.
I forgot about
And
the.
I think that's my favorite part is that it's like, oh yeah, you like the PDF's out there, like you have the book. It's like you have the book except for one detail,
That's right.
which I think is very cool.
It's very cool.
We still have a secret up our sleeve.
We do.
You know what I mean? Like that's cool. That's really cool.
What was the initial reaction to the message in your inbox from D&D Beyond, and what were some challenges for cementing this partnership, if you can share?
It didn't like reach out like they said like here you have been chosen. Here's
It
your
didn't
I was
work
gonna
that
say
way.
there wasn't
Yeah.
there wasn't like a flashpoint moment.
What
It
I'll
was, you know,
say
it was like,
is that we've just ever since 2023 after the
Acceptance letter.
Kickstarter campaign, we've built a really awesome relationship with the folks at Wizards of the Coast and D&D Beyond team and all of that. And I think that it was just kind of this shared desire to put out really awesome, great content for D&D and for the game and make it more accessible and have more content.
Yeah.
And it's, it's been an evolving process. And they've been really, really, really gracious from all of our delays and our headaches, and their team has been
That's what I wanted to say.
extremely gracious.
Oh, yeah.
Our
And
timelines
very
got
patient.
And our
exploded.
timelines what got exploded, and
They rolled the punches.
they rolled the punches, and the team just works. The D&D Beyond team especially works so fucking hard.
Yeah.
In getting this is like the amount of, it's not like you're just getting the PDF in like digital form that happens like magically. Like, to take a 632 page book and put that into this web app takes a tremendous amount of work. And it's Herculean, and they've been amazing partners.
You guys run a stream campaign of Crooked Moon. Is the coward. Hard to say.
Hard to say.
We don't have a lot of time on our hands.
No.
God.
Hard to say. It'd be fun. It'd be fun as fuck.
Yeah.
How many sessions do you think it would take?
Oh,
Oh my God.
Proper.
dozens.
We've talked about this like we'd never get through it.
No,
We'd
it
be
would,
playing
it would
for a
take 5
decade.
years. It would take 5
At
I
years.
don't know
least.
about that.
No, it would take 5 years.
I'm saying closer to 10.
I wonder.
It would take
2
5
years.
years. 5 years.
Longer.
If we really sunk our teeth into it and did
Longer
the
than
whole...
2 years.
Longer than
cult
2
and
years.
And the
Longer
village
than,
and all
longer
that.
than 2 years.
No, you were notorious for undershotting things.
Yeah, longer than 2 years. 100%. I bet every penny I've ever made.
2, 5, 10. 2, 5, 10. Kyle's demon. When Gary does the inevitable D&D Beyond commercial promoting this, will it involve a mea culpa?
No.
No, it'll just because if you actually watch it, I'm just making fun of my old pal Derek
Yeah.
and his inability to use technology.
As the person who writes the ads, I can say no. That would not be a part of the ad.
Gary never apologizes.
I never
for any of it.
apologize.
No, so that would be against
apologizing
his-
is for
yeah.
losers and
Yeah.
quitters.
And most people don't realize that Mike. It's just Mike making fun of Derek because
Right.
Derek is just
Right.
like,
Derek's being a goober.
yeah, Derek
A
was being
boomer.
a goober, a boomer. We explained
got
frog
frog
movements. Since you're almost done with Crooked Moon, have you any plans for a next module or book?
Of course.
Yeah. I mean, I said
Yes.
it before. Yes. We
Yes.
No, the answer is yes.
What I will
Move on.
say-
Next question. Yes or no
What I
question.
will say, about that, I hope that when you see the quality of the Chuckles the Clown pin, and the quality, almost unnecessarily high quality, of the Honk Legion adventure,
which we haven't really talked about.
which I haven't talked
It's
about.
coming.
It's coming. It's great. All the game design
robust.
in it is Derek is writing it. The game design is
Dan
all
did
by
the
Dan.
design, Yep.
And the art is we're getting the art from all of the artists, and it feels like a chapter of the Crooked Moon.
We have a Titus piece.
We have a Titus piece. We have a piece from Doom Sarcoma coming.
Suzanne and Ona have a bunch
Suzanne
of art
and
in it.
Ona have a bunch of art in it, and it's so good. What I will say is that when we do another one, if and when we do another one, you will want to become a VIP backer.
Immediately.
If you missed out and are regretting that you missed the Chuckles pin, you'll be able to buy the adventure, but you won't be able to buy the pin. You will not want to miss the VIP when that ever does come. So put down your $1 and then back the campaign.
Well said.
Well said. Yami Kitty Cat, would you hypothetically in a year or so talk about your experience with everything you've done, learned, etc. on the Crooked Moon, an expose, if you will? I mean, we've talked a lot about literally the
We've
other
been pretty
day
open.
where someone said if Neon
Neon Knights.
Neon Knights came back, would you what would you want to talk about?
Yeah,
Monday
and
Monkeys, if
that's
you will.
what I said.
Yeah.
Basically, if we did Neon Knights again, and maybe we wouldn't call it that probably, but
No.
I could see us eventually doing something where we would love to talk about this is what we learned, this is how we went through it and built a company, to help folks who were in our position 2 years
Yeah.
or where we were 2 years ago, consuming every podcast and every YouTube video about this thing. I'd love to be able to pass that on in some way.
I agree.
It would be extensive and long and lots and lots and lots and
I
lots
would
of time.
love.
to film that.
I mean, granted, yeah, I don't know if we'd ever have the time, or like it would make sense. But if we could put out like an easily accessible and searchable resource where someone could go from ground zero and say, I have the skill, the talent, the drive, the hustle, and I am going to find the capital to go from point A all the way to point Z in spinning up, launching a crowdfunding campaign, spinning up a publishing company.
Oh, we talked about this a little bit. Sarm asks, did you keep what was cut in hopes of it fitting in better to future projects? Or was that not possible? With
Most of what we cut is not going to ever see the light of day.
Yeah, it's just sort
You
of how
mentioned
we-
the original artifacts. I would love for that to see the light of day somewhere. But that's really kind of the big thing. Everything
I'm
else,
hoping that some of the monsters, even in spirit, come back in some way.
Yeah.
In maybe just a little something.
Sure, that's possible.
Yeah, if you see on the last page of one of the last pages
Yeah,
of the
that's
book,
my favorite. That got
there
cut.
is a horrifying spider monster in the curses. That's just decoration.
Yeah.
That was originally a creature that was also going to be incorporated when there was going to be an adventure when the Ghostlight Express was going to crash in the Webwoods, and there'd be a whole spider adventure, and you'd be stopped by Hypnovolfin on your way. The journey to Wickermore Village was going to be almost a chapter in its own.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we don't have any fucking time or space for this shit.
No room.
You get there. So yeah, thousands of words were cut in between the Ghostlight Express and Wickermore Village.
Did working on the Crooked Moon make you realize things about how you play / GM your campaigns that you wanted to change? No, for me,
yeah.
in terms of playing.
I don't think so.
No,
I
for
would
me as a
also say
GM,
no.
it made me very grateful that we play D&D the way that we play D&D.
That's a good way to
Good
put it.
What it changed, the biggest way that it changed was, I think, Dan imparting his design philosophy. And I think
That's absolutely true.
is the
I view that more as like almost like
That's not really
my
getting at this question.
my Avantress entertainment like game design journey and
But
philosophy.
I think
philosophy growth.
even in that case, with us starting just to use stuff that Dan's done in Stardust, right? Like, in that way, again, that's less about like how we play, but I think I just have such an appreciation of good design.
Yeah.
And now I can see what is good design, where before I couldn't sniff it out that well. And I think again, to Andy's point,
Which is
lot,
better
where it's
than we
like,
thought.
I think a lot of what we did sort of survived in lots of ways.
Yeah.
But we got better at
But
it.
we got much better
With
at
Dan
it.
being able to
and
kinda
Dan
show us
to
how-
shepherd us and
Yeah.
show us the light.
100%.
So
I
to
totally
speak.
agree. 1000%.
Favorite class or subclass? We talked about this a lot for this from Maokai.
I gotta go with my.
On something new, the Philosopher Wizard.
I'll go with something new. I really like the Circle of Wicker Druid. Circle of Wicker is a lot of fun.
I do what I want says, hello Avengers fam, FYI, it looks like you only get the bonuses when you get the bundle. Pre-order this bundle ahead of the release on July 17th or June 17th to unlock exclusive 4 frames and 10 backdrops for your character sheet.
Double check.
I just ordered part 1 and it didn't have the
I
bonuses.
think those unlock when it releases, right?
They don't unlock now, I
No.
don't think.
No. I
Well,
don't-
we should, regardless, we should double check. Just make sure.
We're going to double check.
But thank
We
you
will
for
get to
bringing
the
that to our
bottom of
attention.
exactly how to get it.
No, but like I also agree with Mike. I do not believe that you get them.
No.
You won't get them until you get the product. It's not going to say like,
Yeah,
But we'll double check.
I believe that those are being delivered when the product is delivered. They don't unlock now.
correct.
That is my understanding.
But we should make sure.
We will double check.
We should make sure.
Who originally proposed the dark bargains? If there was debate, what convinced y'all to keep it? It was just a Crooked Moony thing to do.
Yeah, pretty obvious.
I think it was one of those things where it felt hoary, and it
I
felt
think
kind
when
of
we were coming up with stretch goals, we're like, this seems obvious.
yeah, and like obviously Briggsy and Mr. Crossroads was very kind of bargain-esque.
Well, I
and-
mean, in the original idea of Edge of Midnight is that we didn't have vestiges. We had our dark patrons that we made, our dark bargains.
yeah.
And the bargains and
That's
the
right.
nature of the people that we had bargained with, that was a huge part of the campaign.
That was
So-
kind of the
Yeah.
No, you're right. Actually, that's a good point. Is the CM only available for one-time purchase? I ask because I'm very new to D&D, so getting it now might not benefit me. It's not going to go away. You'll be able to buy it on D&D Beyond for the foreseeable future, and buy it on our web store for the foreseeable future.
in whatever form you like.
On D&D Beyond, you won't be able to get the pre-order bonuses on June
son of a
17th.
gun.
Yeah.
Which are frames and backdrops. And for the store, you won't be able to get the Kickstarter exclusive pins and coin from the various value boxes.
So those would be what you would be missing out.
Table bit me.
Ain't that just the way? Will Chuckles and Bitsy ever make a comeback? I mean, Bitsy
You okay,
was just
Andy?
in season 2 of
Yeah,
Uprooted.
just table bit me.
Chuckles is
Do we
around.
keep bandages in
We-
the Band-Aids?
I don't think so,
We need to
actually.
invest in some Band-Aids just in case.
Oh, there might be some in the.
Let me look for it.
It's not urgent.
And grab me some seltzer, too.
I'm just thinking about it now. The table bit me, and I'm bleeding.
What are all the classes that are based off of your homebrew characters, like the Experiment for Tormek or the Sinner for Kremi? They weren't based off of our characters, right? Like they were based off of themes that we enjoy, that also appear in things like Kremi and Briggsy, right? I just love a lot of elements of what the Sinner brings. Just like we like a lot of an experiment and alchemical body modification stuff. I mean, obviously, the Great Fool, right, is sort of based on Chuckles and our clown biz. Funkenstein Live. Would you consider talking with some of the artists and selling prints of the artwork in Crooked Moon? I need the artwork of all the bosses together on my wall right now. We're working on that, figuring out what makes sense. How do we sell prints? Like, what's the best way to go about it? Merch just isn't a big mover, and so to sort of, you know, when we spin up a big merch launch, the question is like, are enough people going to care enough about it to sort of justify the effort? So we're still working through that. Cobalt asks, for the character art that is used to represent the subclasses, how did you determine their design and how they look? Are they inspired by other characters and people, or are they fully original designs? I don't think anything is fully original on the planet, right? Like, I think that every idea is, Wes Anderson says this, every idea is just three other ideas kind of combined together.
Did you just hurt yourself again?
No, this is good shit. Did you see?
okay.
Thank you. Did
Anyway,
you see the
selfish.
fucking trailer for his new movie?
No.
It's called, and I can't even pronounce it correctly. And Wes Anderson has a new film.
movie.
Oh shit.
Hold on. I can't even pronounce this.
The Phoenician Scheme.
The Phoenician Scheme. And holy fuck, it's a Wes Anderson film. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Looks fucking cool.
I love that idea.
So go.
need to
No.
see,
This
Asteroid
bandage
City.
is enough to
fired?
fit my entire hand. But thank you, Michael.
Just cut it in half.
No, we're good. I'm not dying.
Okay.
I think that we should invest in bandages.
Yeah, I used to have a
in
first
the
aid
future.
kit.
We'll get one.
Oh, it's still in there, just empty.
So yeah, every single, theme in general sort of implies a reference to something that exists, a truth of the world, of the universe, of creative works. And so every single subclass is inspired by something. We can say that kind of confidently. Whether it's folklore or history or characters in fiction, everything had a very strong thematic reference that we were digging into. Favorite familiars in terms of design, mechanics, vibes. That's very fun.
Magpie of Omens. I specifically requested that I needed to have one ability called One for Sorrow, and I needed to have another ability called Two for Joy. And Dan delivered, thank you very much.
I love the nameless thing, because I love the name. It's such a good cosmic horror name for a thing. And when I saw that name, I'm like, that's pretty fucking good. We bring up the vibes coming from all the music via the Blasting Company. What has been the most fun part of working with them? They're just geniuses. We say it all the time. And it's been really fun picking, kind of casting the album, casting the characters. That's been a lot of fun. If you get the boss miniatures, they come printed in that charcoal gray color, or are they those other colors you showed a couple months ago? They are colored miniatures. That's not the final
Not
color.
the final color.
This is not the final color.
But they're similar.
It's close enough.
Yeah.
We'll have the finals up tomorrow.
They will be colored plastics.
I took them home. I had to do stuff.
Andy has the final colors, which is fine.
But I'll bring it back. I meant to bring it back today. Go check the Kickstarter updates for that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
Mikey does these really, really amazing in-depth Kickstarter updates, and those are like, that's the source of truth.
You can always count on me. At the very least, by the last day of the month, there will always be a Kickstarter update every single month. Sometimes more.
Favorite spell from the CM spell list? I have some bias because I know you're going to say the same thing.
Okay.
I have
You
one.
say, we'll say, here, you go.
There were 2 spells that were submitted that had Sanctum of the Blank and Sanctum of the Blank. And thematically, like, I'm like, why are these both Sanctum of something? And the names, I think, weren't gelling with me from they felt very...
Yeah, we were doing our naming pass.
we were
on
doing we were doing
the spells.
doing our naming pass. And I'm like, God, how do we keep... We were trying to keep them in the same alphabetical order because they had already been laid out, so we didn't want to change Sanctum too much. We wanted to keep the exact order. And I was looking at them, and I was like thematically, like these sort of... We should tie these together in some way thematically if they're going to be Sanctum of the... And the names felt so sort of classic high fantasy D&D. And then I was looking at the names, and I came up with Sanctum of the Shepherd and Sanctum of the Flock.
Nice.
Which sort of was a kind of, it just hit me. Like, Mike and I spent a long time trying to rename those spells. And I think it works surprisingly well for both of those spells. And I don't think if you were to look at them, you wouldn't necessarily realize right off the bat that we had all these kind of creative constraints. And we still managed to sort of make it work.
And the art's really cute.
And the art is super cute.
Mine's Blood Bolt, because I wrote the original. Dan said it was interesting, and then I got to see how Dan made it better.
Yeah.
And it was cool to see that
great
that like, you know, it going full circle into something like, you know, more. I don't know. It's just really interesting how you can take something so simple and like it doesn't get any more complex. But then you see like, oh, it's neat how it's like it's more solid now. Yeah, I don't know. It's just cool. It's cool to see.
Dissolution.
Yeah. Also, great fucking answer.
Anytime there's like a classic.
I'll never forget the first time we read
signature
that.
cantrip.
We were
If you
like,
want to see dissolution,
Yeah.
if you want to see range dissolution in practice,
God, the first time we read
check
that
out
shit,
Stardust Rhapsody Anthem
I'll never forget.
with Glup Bondo.
Zavane.
Well, I didn't
Oh,
answer.
go ahead. I wasn't sure.
Creek.
Creek.
Oh, well, that's
Classic spell.
Creek is my
I think
favorite.
Creek is coming at some point.
perfection.
It can't. It's immortalized.
It's in the curses.
But
we
no,
can still
it
do
can
it.
still be a spell.
Zavan, how often will you get updates on the D&D Beyond pre-orders? I'm not sure what that means.
How?
you mean, like,
when will we know how many people are pre-ordering?
Oh, in terms of sales data.
I don't think we get sales data for until a quarter.
I think
No, we got an email. I can tell you exactly when we get them.
we get they're quarterly.
Yes.
I believe that for the initial launch, they're going to give us a little bit of taste.
We're gonna find out tomorrow,
But
and then we'll find out.
ongoing, it'll be quarterly.
Yep. That's
It's
exactly
also
correct.
possible they're asking when customers get updates on the Crooked Moon, which is monthly. So you can go to the update section of the Crooked Moon Kickstarter, and you can see the monthly updates that Mikey writes.
I'm not sure if this is already answered. This is from Dibble Dooble. Will the Crooked Moon ever make it to brick and mortar stores?
Fall.
This fall.
fall.
Yes, confirmed for Smash.
And it might make it to some stores that you don't expect, and if you do, we'll tell you where to go.
The best thing that you can do is go to your local game store, tell them that you want it,
Yes.
and then they will talk to their supplier or their distributor, and whether they use a distributor that we're using, they'll find out, or they can get it directly from us.
Yep.
So,
Kata Joe, do you take inspiration from other media for some of your monsters classes, and if so, what are some examples? Every time I see the Wicker Man, I think of the Yu-Gi-Oh card Blazing
Oh.
in Pachi. We do all the time. That's kind of our thing.
Yeah.
The Wicker Man is inspired by The Wicker Man,
The Wicker Man,
a wonderful film from the 70s.
starring.
Nicolas Cage.
Christopher Lee as Lord Summer Isle.
Here, I'm just gonna go through and just maybe I can snipe off a few that's pretty. Oh my god, this book is so big I can't even scroll with the wheel. The Drakenhop is inspired by the film The Wicker Man, by the hobby horse costume in the parade.
Starring Nicolas Cage.
The Crooked Man is heavily inspired by The Crooked Man from the Hellboy 3 shop.
Folklore.
And just general, and the nursery rhyme. What else? The Alpengrendel is inspired by trolls and yetis of folklore.
The Dusk Mother is inspired by the Beldame.
And more.
And more.
Kyle's even asks, what are your thoughts on the latest Unearthed Arcana featuring 7 reworked horror theme subclasses and a blasphemous mistake of a hexblade? This isn't currently related, but I want to bring it up just in case Dan's still here.
In case Dan's still here.
I know Dan has thoughts.
Ask Dan about the blasphemous mistake of the hexblade.
I'll admit, I have not read them, but
I haven't yet either.
I think there's a new Artificer subclass in there.
Dan says, "Oh, I'm fucking here."
Oh, I'm fucking here.
Let's go.
So I would love Dan's take if you're whatever you're willing to share with the class. But I'm curious.
Yeah, whatever you feel comfortable
Boss
with.
is yelling, Dan, no.
Dan, no. I have feelings.
Yeah.
Did you ever consider changing Torbeck to be a Path of the Experiment Bard?
Barbarian.
Sorry,
Yes,
it's been a week.
I've considered it. We have considered it.
Got that one. Let's pick some highlights here. You once advertised Shard Tabletop as an online D&D tool. Are there plans for Green Moon to be on there as well as Beyond?
No current plans.
Yeah, what I would say is, for things like, there's other stuff, Fantasy Grounds is one that folks use, Owlbear is one that folks use.
We've had a lot of people reach out to us too, being like, hey, we have a platform, we're interested in having the Crooked Moon there, and it's like, we'll explore it.
So,
for sure.
never say never. There's, I mean, we
But
want to
no
get the
plans.
game out, no current plans, but
plans.
never say never.
I don't think I understand.
I don't know what that is. Yoink. Would you ever do a D&D cookbook?
We've talked about it.
We've
might-
talked about it.
We've
What are
considered
your
it.
Favorite crooked cryptids? I'm going to take the Lake Dredger.
Oh, I love the
I
Lake
love
Dredger.
the Lake Dredger. Holly's art is so evocative.
And it made it into the book. I was required. We can't cut the art.
Yeah. And so we got it into Memories Rest. And it's
Memories
very large in that chapter 2. That's my favorite. You
That's
mentioned the
really
Flatwoods
good.
monster.
I already mentioned the monster.
I like the Mothman.
Yeah.
I like the
The
Mothman.
Mothman's really fun.
Interpretation. I remember the first time I saw
think,
that art.
Dan did a great job designing it, and then the art team took his description and really went crazy with it, and I thought it was very fun. I already said the Flatwoods monster, which is the Invader out of space. I'm gonna say the Alpengrendel. I think
Great, that's my second pick.
I love Yeti folklore. I love Scandinavian troll folklore, and I think kind of combining them is really fun.
Dan Dillon says, I almost really like what the UA Hexblade is, but it fails completely in that the entire subclass turns off if you don't have Hexcast on a target. And if you do have it up, then you're locked out of many iconic Warlock spells like Hunger of Hadar. That's terrible, and I gave my feedback in the survey today. I desperately hope they provide a fix for the concentration issue. As someone that plays a Hexblade Warlock, that sounds fucking
bad.
awful.
Yeah, if Scream was locked up, he would hate every moment of that.
I hate having to take Hex. I think as a avid Warlock player, Hex is often a trap.
Yeah.
And I want to use my concentration to do cooler, more flavorful things. I don't want to have it. I don't want to always concentrate on this one thing to use my subclass.
Yep.
Fuck that.
I agree.
No, we already answered that. Guys, if you have not pre-ordered the Crooked Moon on D&D Beyond, look at everything that there is to offer. You can either get just part 1 or part 2 or the bundle. You save $10 if you buy the bundle. And you unlock, if you pre-order, you unlock 4 frames for your character portraits and 10 backdrops featuring the stunning work of Titus Lunter.
If you had to fight one of the Witch familiars, 1v1, the 3 Vermintoll Coven familiars, which one would you pick?
I would pick Pete Albert.
Yeah.
I would.
Even close.
I would.
Not
Is he the least threatening?
He's the pigeon.
He's the pigeon.
No, I know who he is. I'm saying, is he the least threatening? Like, why is that your pick?
Because I would not want to fight a giant centipede with hands or a
That's
fucking
an-
Or a Steve
weasel.
Teal.
So
Weasel, not a
the
fucking
first thing
chance.
I was gonna say was the weasel, but I'm scarred from it like burrowing into Yorgrim's chest.
And the pigeon is like, he looks like your pudgy bald neighbor, and like, but also on a pigeon, and so like, You can. I feel like I could punch him out of the sky.
I wonder if our pudgy bald neighbor Albert knows that we put him in the
That's
We'd be
very
so
funny.
mean. We'd be so mean.
That's very funny.
We'd be so mean if we did that.
Zan Sivada, I know Mikey said no more written adventures, but is there any possibility of smaller modules that take place in other provinces? Who's to say?
Never say never.
Who's
Never
this?
say never. We've considered it. Yes.
Well, the Crooked Moon going on D&D Beyond, does that mean Wizards get certain rights to distribute it how they like? We don't. That doesn't
No.
give them rights to distribute the
Nope.
entire book however they want.
Nope.
That's just D&D Beyond. We're
D&D
still the
Beyond.
publishers. We still own all the rights, and they've been.
They don't get any
wonderful
rights.
partners, yeah.
It is an agreement, and yeah, nothing can be done without our express agreement. They've been amazing partners.
Pigeon jockey. That's very funny.
Pigeon jockey. Pigeon jockey.
We talked about when we're going to get charged for shipping, but
Assume closer to August.
August
Not June.
1st, give or take
Not
2 or 3
June.
weeks.
Not June.
Yeah,
We got that one.
we got that. Wow, we're way behind.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
there's a bazillion people here.
Yeah. I don't know how many people are watching.
A bazillion.
A bazillion. Ah!
Oh, Shark Pup.
Shark Pup.
X3. Is it like a Mega Man thing? X3.
No. Not that I'm aware of.
As a group of friends, before becoming a company, does it make it harder to play D&D?
Before becoming.
I cannot wait for the Crooked Moon.
I don't think it makes it harder to play D&D at all.
No.
No, I think it's.
I see what they're saying, though. We're like,
Here, help me unpack it for me.
we were all friends beforehand,
Oh!
playing D&D.
Yeah, I was misreading the
now
card.
we're all this. We're
Yep.
all employees.
Yep.
You know.
No.
The
No.
6 core members of Evantress are all full-time employees.
No, do you have any idea how freaking cool it is to be able to go to work on a Wednesday and play around in the Feywild?
It gets easier to play D&D every
That's
year.
work. That's so cool.
It's gotten
and yeah,
easier,
it gets easier.
I think.
I will say
We've gotten better at it.
Yeah.
we get better at it. We have more. I think we have more hours playing the game of Dungeons and Dragons than many people on the planet. Most people on the planet.
know
And
what
what
you're
I will
gonna say.
say
I know what you're
is
gonna
that there is not having, even at my
what
worst
you're gonna
crash
say.
out, not having to go to a day job
Yep.
and getting utterly fried
Yep.
and having a miserable day and then coming back. I can have a crazy, crazy day. I still feel rejuvenated to come fucking play Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, and also now it's our job to devote brain power to it.
Yeah.
So before, when it's like, it's a thing that we're just doing for fun, and you have to worry about everything else in your life first, because if you don't have a place to live or food to eat. You know, it's like
Yeah.
you it's an afterthought, and like now it's not. You can devote actual more brain power to enjoying it.
We have the coolest jobs in the world.
I agree.
Rich has said it before, and it's true. We have the coolest jobs in the world.
I count my lucky stars every morning when I
Me
get
too.
up. I feel immense gratitude every day.
I feel every single day I feel gratitude. I don't take it for granted at all. And it's I feel blessed, if that, without sounding trite.
And I mean, it's silly for me. Well, not silly, but like, I used to do customer support. That was something that I did for many years of my life. But now I get to do customer support about something that I thoroughly enjoy doing. It's way more fun to answer people's questions about playing D&D than
Yeah.
it is about, like, my mouse doesn't work.
That's very funny.
Is your mouse plugged in?
Who is the mastermind behind the Salmon of Knowledge?
That would be me. That was inspired also from the film The Wicker Man. The Salmon of Knowledge, sometimes wisdom, is a creature from Celtic folklore, but the main inspiration is that was one of the masks from the parade, the May Day parade. And I thought it would be
featured
very
masks.
fun to have. So yeah,
And
that's
designed by Dan.
designed by Dan, of course. Yeah. Dan designed it. What? But as
was,
far as selecting it
Yeah.
and the story.
After the Crooked Moon is officially out, will the music be publicly available? It'll be on Spotify.
Yeah.
But you can buy the high quality MP3s from our
very
store.
full quality.
High fidelity.
Is the species art meant to be reminiscent of any notable NPCs in Druskenbald? No. Nope. They're just what we imagined a PC might be
Yeah.
for the species.
If you want to make them into an NPC, go for it.
Weird Wallflower. Did creating the Crooked Moon and starting a publishing company, hours, stress, uncertainty, cause any strain in your relationships with friends, family, significant others? If so, how did you manage?
I think it's unavoidable.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. What I will say is doing good work, doing great things, is extremely hard. And when things are hard, there's inherently strain. And so what I will say is I have the fortunate side effect that every single life decision that I've made in the last 8 years has been to get to this end result. So I have crafted and built my life to support doing this. And so that makes it easy. But to answer the question, therapy is great.
Yeah.
Therapy helps a lot.
I really like
I started that mid-process, and it's made a lot of difference.
Yeah. Any other thoughts?
Oh, I don't really want to get into it.
I
I do whatever the fuck I want. That's the short of it, right? Like, I respect
You work out.
my wife.
You
I
stay
respect
fit?
my friends. I agree with Richie. This is difficult. There is no such thing as, you're not taking the path of least resistance here. But I would say that even at our absolute worst, like the strain, it never got to us to a point where it was ever like a problem, right? Like we have our shootouts, we have our disagreements.
We have our crash outs.
But
we move past them.
Look, I can even think, without going into any detail, I can think of the absolute worst moment where the four of us sat down and we have a conversation. And even that conversation is me going, hey guys, we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, let's all just, it's going to be fine. We're going to be okay. It's always going to be all right.
We always leave the conversation saying everything's going to be okay.
And like, so at the end of the day,
yeah.
like, I respect my friends. I respect my wife. Like, obviously, she had reservations about me doing this full time, at first. But, like,
normal.
and I've said this on stream.
Reasonable.
But at the end of the day, I looked her in the eye and said, look, I will not quit my job, my old job, until you're comfortable with it. But this is an inevitability. Like, I'm going to do it.
We're like Thanos.
Yeah. So like, and like I wasn't gonna do anything that made Kelsey uncomfortable. I wasn't gonna do anything that put my family in jeopardy. But I was like, this will happen because I believe in it and I have faith in it. I wouldn't do it if I didn't have faith, right?
Growth begins at the edge of your comfort zone.
That's exactly right.
Oh, bro.
And what I've learned in my life, and it's so true, is that if you're comfortable, you're not growing. And if you're growing, you're not comfortable.
Yep.
And so you got to pick your poison. And, literally, it's not an exaggeration to say that I was working between 14 and 20-hour days for like 6 months straight.
Yeah.
To salvage the Crooked Moon. And, you couldn't pay me to go back to my old life. Where I worked, at a corporate job that's relatively comfortable and that makes decent money. And, being a middle manager in corporate America is comfortable, but you do not fucking grow. And yeah, you literally couldn't pay me any amount of money to go back to that life.
I read it earlier and I didn't understand what that meant. I read that like 3 times. I couldn't decipher it.
Yeah.
I really wanted to.
Yeah, if we don't understand, sometimes there's a question.
Force Antelope. I've seen some Over the Garden Wall references sprinkled throughout your stuff. Did y'all have the Blessing Company in mind for the OSC from the start? They were part of the campaign. So yeah, we reached out to them immediately and they said yes.
It's very funny.
Folks are asking about Pathfinder 2e. We really don't know about Pathfinder.
No.
The content itself, like the mechanics, is all 5th edition, 5e. All the lore stuff is good for Pathfinder. It's good for any game that you play. All the lore, all the world building, all of the the quest hooks.
We're full circle.
We got that one. This is a really good one. Is it better to buy the D&D Beyond digital version or the Kickstarter hard copy version? It's totally up to you.
They're different things.
What you are interested in. If you want to feel the book and flip through
And it is an art object.
See, that's what I was gonna say.
It's a stunning art
What
object.
people don't understand is that even if you don't physically utilize the physical book, like it's just an art piece.
Yeah.
Like it can sit on your coffee table like an art book would, You know what I mean? Like as a conversational piece, because it's that cool. But it depends on what
Yeah.
you want. What are you going to get the most value out of for what your uses are?
As a consumer, I have the physical and the digital for Helliana's, for Humblewood, at the very least.
I mean, I like both.
Yeah, but
Like as a
yeah.
person who wants
And
to
it's-
use
I'm not gonna
the
say both,
objects,
but yeah,
and
They're
that's
different
not
things.
that's not like a shill thing.
Yeah.
There's very much a reason why
Yeah.
I want the physical book because I like owning physical objects. But if I'm at the table like trying to use one of these things, there's a lot of value in having the PDF. So when I'm on my PC, I can just look things up real quick.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, you'll also see me here with the Wufra book, flipping pages, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, it just depends on what you get, what you need as a person.
Oh, this is a great question from Z and Other Things. Has it started to feel real that the Crooked Moon is so far into production, or are you still in limbo such refused to think about it because the void staring back? We never refuse to think about it or face it. But what I'll say, or maybe, oh yes, we did. You're right, we did.
What?
What?
We as far as refusing to think about the Crooked Moon is like the head in the sand.
Well, no, what I was going to say is it's not like we don't like to think about it, but there are times where we get pulled back into Crooked Moon stuff
Yeah.
as we forge on to new projects and new things that we're working on. And sometimes having to go back and do the Crooked Moon thing is sort of like, fuck, you know, because we've been through it, right?
Yeah. I think that's inevitable. I still am very jazzed and excited, but sometimes it's like, it has been with like folk horror, which is so miserable and depressing, is your whole life for, 2022.
We've been doing it for fucking 2.5 years,
Yeah.
right? Like we've been in it for 2-3 years,
Yeah.
right? Where for folks who are just getting it, they're getting Crooked Moon for the first time. It's been our lives for 3 years.
Every waking
right?
moment.
I'm ready for something a little fresh. You know what I mean?
But that said, what I'll say is that it is feeling very real that it's in production.
Yeah.
And we're going to be shipping out soon, or freighting soon. And when people are opening that, when I'm going to create a unboxing video or unboxing channel on our Discord, and when I finally start seeing people unboxing their shit, I'm going to be so fucking.
You get to enjoy it in a new way by watching other people enjoy it for the first time.
And then when I will be able to breathe, when every single Kickstarter backer and backer kit pre-order has their copy, when it's in stores, when we can think about things like translation,
You guys
that's when I'll be
get
able
to
breathe.
start to breathe when I no longer have air to breathe because I'm going to be the one dealing with all the Crooked Moon stuff.
Well, it's like this waterfall, right?
Yeah.
Where like we need to work on something for 3 years, and then it goes to market, and you all are playing with it for 3 years, right? And we need to work on the next thing so that you have the next thing
Yep.
when you're sort of done with Crooked Moon, right? So it's just sort of just staying ahead of that.
Yeah.
Is a big part of this. What's it like to see your characters being published from Witchy Big?
It's awesome.
Surreal.
It's really surreal.
I keep using the word surreal, but
wild.
it just
Yeah.
is. Everything we do is surreal.
Yeah, it really is. You know, there's meetings where I have like, that's the coolest meeting we've ever done. And we have another meeting, I'm like, oh, that's
Oh,
the
yeah.
coolest meeting we've ever done.
Right.
Oh no, that was
that was
truly
the coolest.
meeting.
And the people that we've had meetings with, even just in the last like week,
yeah.
some real, just amazing stuff. Let's see if there's any good final
I think it's a great idea.
things to call out here. Any clues on the next Crooked Moon singles coming out?
Soon.
Do we have any ideas?
Oh, and the next one?
Soon.
It'll be soon.
Mike and I are talking about it.
It'll be soon.
I feel like
There's a lot of fish. There's a lot of fish that got fried. They're big.
Soon! Ah! Mike and I are talking about it. It's on our radar. Is what I'll say.
Are there many? We talked about the Avengers. Like Ellis Coons doesn't show up in Crooked Moon. There's no NPCs, except maybe one that kind of walks up and shows up in the campaign.
And even then, that's kind of still related.
Why don't we do closing announcements? Talk about D&D Beyond while I look for somebody to raid.
Yeah, we're gonna raid.
Oh, well, hold on. Before we do D&D Beyond, let's talk about what's coming up. Tomorrow we're gonna be back here for Witchlight. It's our normal Wednesday D&D session. We're gonna be back with Once Upon a Witchlight. Thursday, we have a special sponsored stream. We're gonna be playing Sunderfolk which I know that people in our community,
I've never played
unbeknownst
it.
to them, neither have I.
Yeah.
Unbeknownst to them, were suggesting it. So I've heard really, really good things about it. I'm excited to dive into that. So that's gonna be a lot of
A
fun.
special
on
sponsored
Thursday.
Sunderfolk stream.
That's right, on Thursday. And then we're back on Saturday all day long. I did see some comments about when the next Stardust is going to be. It's going to be Saturday.
This Saturday.
Start at 1 p.m. We're going to play all day. Play 2 episodes. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait. Very, very
3 of
exciting
us will be there.
Then we are back Monday for patrons with Wuffrup, Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. Then Mason and I and the sales team are off to Wisconsin for a business B2B show.
BCD Games Day.
Madison,
That's right.
Wisconsin.
So that Wednesday is going to be different. Some sort of gaming stream.
We
We're
are
playing
playing.
Repo,
God,
right?
yeah, Repo.
Oh, that's
We're
right,
playing
you
Repo.
fucks. I'm so jealous.
We're playing Repo! I'm so excited!
You guys have fun with that. I'm going to tune in.
I hope my machine can handle it. My
Mikey's
poor,
gonna
poor
play
machine.
Phasmophobia alone.
Nope, never, ever. Never
no,
in a
enjoy
million years
Repo.
am I
It'll be
gonna
fun.
play Phasmo.
So that's kind of what the next week and a half looks like.
And then this Wednesday after that is Chicken Mania.
No, that's
No.
like the 11th.
Oh, it's in
That's
June.
in June.
Okay, never mind.
Because that's the week before we go to Origins.
That's a different con you're thinking of than it.
Yes.
Back
But you're close. That's like a couple weeks later. But you're close. So anyway, that's kind of just a preview of the next couple of weeks. Why don't we talk about D&D Beyond?
Thanks to all of you for your support. Thank you for pre-ordering.
It's a monumentous day.
It's monumental.
It's another
This
milestone.
has been a long time
Really,
coming.
It's wild to think about.
I want to thank everyone
It's
for the
surreal.
support. It's
It is
very
surreal.
surreal.
It is.
It is another way to make the Crooked Moon accessible to an even wider audience and have more people get into it. And we're really excited about it. Remember, you can get pre-order. If you pre-order the Crooked Moon on D&D Beyond, by the time it releases fully on June 17th at noon Eastern, you will get 4 frames, 2 static, 2 animated for your character portrait, and then 10 entire Crooked Moon backdrops. That's the best part. The backdrops is really the cool shit. Like, that's the fun.
Now's the time.
Now's the time.
Yeah.
Now's the time. So, pre-order now.
And the pre-order window is going to be about a month.
About a month, a little over a month. So you have time.
And so stay tuned. So for some fun
content.
Some fun content
We have some
coming up.
fun related content.
Within the next few weeks.
Next couple weeks.
Yeah, next couple weeks.
We
We are going to raid the Captain.
The Captain.
Robert. It's rare that we're playing while, or that we're live while he's actually live.
love Captain Robert.
Pass on the Evantress love. Anything else?
No, just that I appreciate all of you, and thanks for being here. And I had a fun time tonight.
Me too.
We love
It's
you all.
nice.
Love you guys. Good night. We'll see
Good
you
night,
Wednesday.
everybody.
We'll see us Thursday. and we'll
That's
see you
tomorrow.
Saturday.
So
Bye-bye.
many times.